Okay. Here we go. So, hey, we're checking out the sound and everything. 1, 2, 3. So, picture and all of that. It's very long for reception of content. I hope it's working okay. If anybody's watching, just let me know it's alright. For some reason, I've got a weird thing happening here, but maybe it's okay for you guys if it's all right. So, okay, that's weird. It takes an enormous amount of time to receive the content here. Just want to see if it's working okay. And here I am. That's interesting. It says when I try to connect, it wants to, it's receiving the content. Just check that out. It's as if the output is not working right. That is so weird. So I'm gonna do the stream again. What is this happening? That is weird. It is very bizarre. Why am I streaming? Am I public? Everything's all right there. And it's streaming out, but it's not doing anything. This is weird. Okay. That is bizarre. That is very bizarre. Bizarre. Trying to see what's happening here. I still don't have nothing. That's bizarre. Oh, it's there. Cool. Here we are. Oh, it's okay. Hello. This is so weird. It was very, very bizarre because my software connected and every indicator said, yeah, it's cool and you're connected and you're streaming and everything is all right. Yet, nothing was there at all in the output. So basically, I don't know what happened, but it seems that somewhere on YouTube's pipes, something was wrong. So hey everyone, welcome to the live show. And sorry for the little delay here, kind of weird. But we are all right. So that's okay here. And that should stream quite well. So, whatever happened fixed itself. You know, one of those, I have nothing to do with it, but you're still looking at what you could do, even if nothing can be done. So, hello everybody. Nice to have all of you on board. Hope that you are well. So this is the Shortwave show. We are here on Saturdays every 2 weeks, 2000 hours Universal Time. We actually take a look at shortwave radios and talk about shortwave radios and just have fun. So this is part 2, if we want, of my radio collection. We did the first part, which was basically all the radios here at the bottom. I've all put them here. This was for the part, really the first part of our show. And we'll take a look at the second part of our show, which is the one on the top here. So we'll go through the radios over there. And now it's the cat that's trying to go away with the camera. So basically, I hope that everything is all right and that everything is cool. So hey, everyone. Nice to have you on board. This is DX the cat that says hello to everyone. I know you guys don't see him very much, but he is here. So, and I'm having 4 types of beer today, 3 types or 4 types, depending on the time. So this is what's left of the case of beer that me and my nephew started last night. I hope you guys, I had a lot of positive, by the way, of last night from everybody saying that it was kind of cool to see a different kind of show and see my nephew that's a newbie in shortwave and just tuning around the bands with portable receivers on the couch was kind of cool. And it was kind of a nice different setup and really, really nice to have everybody here. So thanks everyone for being here. So, hello there. Hello, Bobby Burgess, Hamrad88, Tom Styles. I'm just going to check out here if the stream's okay, but my output's nice, so it shouldn't be my problem if it's stuck. Hey, Nick Hamendot from Romania. Simple Electricity from Czechia. Brett Wayne, hello there. Bullfrog89, hello there. What do we have? Howard Parker, nice to see you here. Listening to Vatican Radio 9660. Fastload, hello there. We have Jerry, nice to have you on board. Yeah, blame YouTube when something goes bad. David Arden, hi Mapper. DX Place, hello there. And I'm not late. It's YouTube that's kind of weird. What else do we have? If I missed you, didn't say hello, just say hi again. I will be here. Hello there, Jeff Miller. Hey, PLF. Was nice to have you on board yesterday and today. And yeah, it was kind of... we will do this regularly. Actually, I was talking about, because with my nephew, we're starting a bunch of shows. You know, I'm in my all or nothing year, so it's all, and maybe we'll be at nothing eventually. So, but we'll see, depending on monetization and everything. So, we're doing all sorts of new shows. We have, of course, our new From the Couch show, which is a tech show where we talk about last week's gaming and tech news on Thursday evenings, 4 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UT. And yeah, actually it's Mad Radio DXer that actually said, hey, why not do a From the Couch shortwave? And I said, well, yeah, why not? And so I invited my nephew yesterday for the show, and he had a lot of fun. And so we're gonna do it. Regularly. That's for sure, because it's really a fun thing to do. It was kind of fun also to tune around shortwave, but with portables instead of the big Icom, and it's more like a lot of people are doing, and I think it's going to be really, really nice. So really, really cool to have everybody. Roger Appleby, nice to have you on board. Hello there, Howard Parker. Any tips to reduce local noise? That's very difficult. It depends on what you mean by local. The noise in your home, of course, you have some control over it. You can try to, disconnect as many devices as possible to limit the noise level when you are listening to shortwave. If the noise is really your neighbors, then it's antenna. Either change the orientation of the antenna, or what seems to be really good, loops, magnetic loops, or like Wellbrooks, or things like that seem to be much, much better. So that would be probably the best that you can do, but it's very difficult. And when the noise level is not your problem, it's the neighbors and all their electronics. It gets so difficult to deal with it. So nice to have everybody here. Grandly, hello there. Of course, PLF and SG2 East Nebraska. 67 Fahrenheit. Wow. Here it's sunny, and what was it? It's about 30. It's about close to 40 degrees. It's a nice spring-like day today. Snow is melting, and I actually had a tech job today just before the show, and I actually took my time and took a nice long walk. It was really, really nice. Hey, Sheldon Harvey, nice to have you on board. Really, really cool to see you here. Bullfrog89 already said hello. So it's cool to have everybody here. It's cool to have the shortwave community gathering in front of their computers to talk about radio. So yesterday was kind of cool having the special From the Couch, with portable receivers and everything. Also finding out that, I don't know if it's still there. I think it's worth it to check out again today. But that really distorted signal that washed out almost every signal from 9450 to 9500 kilohertz. That was one hell of a signal, man. We got it here. We got it in Europe. It was strong. It even received in Australia last night. That was kind of, really strong. Really some strong distortion there from a station. Hello there, Brother Earth. Nice to have you here on the other chat room. MDK2, no problem. Nobody, you can't always be there. That's for sure. So that's pretty cool. Green grass in New York. Wow. Here we almost had like 2 feet of snow in about a week. So it's pretty amazing. So, so I am making people spend money. Making people spend money for sure. Nick Amendot in Romania is getting himself a DE13 from Degen and a Tecsun R9012, which are 2 cheap little receivers that are amazing. And they're going to join his PL660. That is cool. That is really, really cool. So, hey, everybody. Cool. That's usually when the audio or video freezes, but it's only one person, it's that person. Because I have indication here of my output also. Cheers, everyone. So 4 kinds of beer today. We're starting out with Blanche de Chambly, which is a good little beer. Actually, would be good with a little slice of orange. So today we're going to take a look at part 2 of my receivers, and I think that's going to be cool. Jerry, hey, nice to have you on board. Jerry DX, saving for an R8600. I got to say, wow, I have R8600 Envy, but I don't have the money for that. But that's, well, 2 feet 4 days ago. That means it's really, really getting warm. Pretty warm. That's pretty amazing. It's amazing. All of you guys, even north of the U.S., are getting 60s, almost 70s in temperature. That's amazing. We're not sure what was the signal, MDK2. All we know is that there was a really, really strong, distorted signal. We started thinking it was maybe jamming or something, but after listening for a while, we realized that it was really a shortwave broadcast that was totally distorted and that actually was jamming 50 kilohertz wide, from 9450 kilohertz all the way to 9500 kilohertz in the 31 meter band. But we're not really sure what station it was that was interfering that much yesterday. So it's going to be interesting to see if it's still there today. And it was a really powerful signal. So well, cool, Jerry. Gotta have the money. That's nice. So, but it was not a jammer. It really was a station, a distorted station. Somebody had a really bad transmitter. It could be Cairo, but I don't know. It was amazingly bad. So, wow, 80 degrees a week ago in Denver for February. That is warm. Here this week, we're going to be in the 40s almost all week, and we're going to have some rain. It really feels like, today in the sunshine, it felt so nice. It felt, even though it was a little cool, you know what? It felt like, let's have a beer on the terrace in the sunshine. I can tell you that. Yeah, MDK2, it's kind of difficult to really know what station did that. It was amazing. And I even looked at the SDR on the University of Twente in the Netherlands on the website, and you could clearly see the 50 kilohertz wide hash of noise that was there. It was actually interfering a lot with WTWW on 9475. So amazing. Hey, Jeffrey Kropp, nice to have you here. And Jeff Miller, hello there. About a PL680 and $19 loop from Anon Co. Love it, but the loop causes a hell of a lot of interference on my SDR. Huh, that's interesting. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And hey, Roger Appleby has that's a nice receiver, the Yaesu FRG7. Pretty nice receiver. So hey, we'll start looking at radios again, because if we don't, we won't. We'll take 3 shows to look at all the radios. I can tell you that. It probably was not. PLF has an interesting question, which is, can one say that this signal was omnidirectional because everybody was receiving it around the world yesterday? And I would say that it was probably not. I don't think it was an omnidirectional signal, not with the power it had. It probably was a signal directed to some region, but it clearly was amazingly, it was strong. It's probably one of those 500 kilowatt transmitters. But man, that was something. So, as Giovanni Nebraska says, he saw 2 robins there and it's too early. they will be surprised with snow. So yeah, it's really changing. No, actually, the cat just left. He was here, and I just opened the door because he wanted to go out. So, but he was here 2 seconds ago. You just missed him. He's shown on the camera for a few minutes. So yeah, radios. Hello there, Jose Luis Pena. Good evening, EC4PR, and always give your call. Always give your call, your AM call when you say hello. It's always fun to have. Yeah, Faslow's got one of those FRG7s also. Hello there, Carrie Deer. And what else do we have? So Family Day on Monday here. You have that in Quebec. I don't know. There's nothing special here on Monday, from what I know. So I don't know. Nope. I don't think we have anything of that here. So, that's pretty cool. So Brett Wayne is KC2NXP. Hello there, Steve in Australia. Have a nice morning, I guess. And here it's 3:23 p.m. So that's, mid-afternoon. So 2023 UTC. Okay. So we went through the first row, and now we're going to go through the second row here. And I thought we'd start with the scanner radios and get that out of the way, and then go back into the shortwave stuff. Before I forget, we are going to take a look at one that is interesting here. This is a Brownie solid state 5-band radio, AM, FM, air band, VHF, and weather band. And this is a nice little radio that I bought for like $3 at a garage sale. And it works fine. And it's a cool little radio. I just like that. It has snaps in the back, so you can actually open this and just look at that. Here's a power cord that I've just put in there, but this is a look at the circuit board. So VHF, it has air bands, so from about 108 to 175. It has the weather band that's separate. It has FM and AM. So it's a nice little radio, solid state radio, and a happy part of my my collection here, the little Brownie receiver. So that's probably something like a 70s radio, late 70s, and just love this little thing. It's really a nice, I plug it in regularly just to, listen into some VHF stuff. And it's not very sensitive. When you compare this to a modern day scanner, I can tell you one thing, this is not very sensitive, but it's just cool to have, a little radio like this lying around. And for $3, you can't go wrong. And of course, that's always ask in the when you buy something at a garage sale, you're always asking does it work? And on these things, pretty much everybody always says, I don't know. And so because of that, they're often going to say, well, it's $2 or $3, or I would not have paid $20 for that, but I don't know if it works. Okay, how much? $3. Okay, I got nothing to lose for $3. And it actually does work and works fine. Would have been cool if they had shortwave on it also. I can tell you that. So it's kind of cool. $3. At $3, that's for sure. Any radio of this type that is in a garage sale for $2 or $3 or $4, even $5, it's coming home. I can bet you it's really, really, really coming home. So man. Oh, really? Your grandmother gave you one fast load? Wow, that's interesting. Hey there, Jack Flood, first time live watcher, KD9CVD in Wisconsin. Hey there, nice to have you on board. It's cool to have everybody watching. So, okay. No, it does not have SSB, CW, or RTTY. That's for sure. And really nice to... Hey, you got to set your alarm to watch because it's too early in the morning. Oh, man. Well, that's dedication. Putting an alarm clock to watch my show. Can tell you that. Okay. So, scanner radios, okay? Pro 43 scanner. So this is a scanner that I bought in, I believe, wait a minute, when I bought this, where was I working? I bought this in, I believe, 1993 or something like that. When I bought it, it came out, I believe it was, you know, had come out maybe 2 months before. It was really one of the new little portable receivers. I wanted this one because this was one of the only realistic or Radio Shack scanners that actually had the airband for military airband, which is 225 to 400 megahertz. And so I wanted to have this, and so this is a 30 megahertz up to 900 some megahertz scanner with holes in it. It's not continuous, you know. It's like the 30 to 54 and 108 to 174, 220 to 512, something like that, and then got 800 megahertz. I had done the little clipping of the. Actually, funny story on this. This is surface mount, and this had a diode, a surface mount diode that if you clipped it, you would get the cell band. And I wanted to have the cell band to listen to cell phones. And I remember when I did it, I actually had a soldering iron that was way too strong, way too powerful. So there was too much heat. So when I actually removed the diode, a full row of buttons stopped working. So it's like, oops. And it's a big oops because it's a $500 oops. So basically, I lent it to a friend of mine that is good with electronics, and I said, "Can you take a look at it? I think I did something bad," and he actually fixed it. So now it's back in working order. Plus has what used to be the cell bands. Pro 43, very fast scanner for the time. Overall, one of the great portable scanners that Realistic ever did. So really nice, and I bought that full price. I bought that really full price, $500 or something, back in like 94, 93 or 94. So that was I really wanted to have it, and I did use this a lot, and I mean really a lot. So the Realistic Pro 43, nice little portable scanning receiver, and had a lot of fun. I used to hear a lot of the military stuff that came out of the Plattsburgh Air Force Base, just in the northern state of New York. And basically, when they closed down the Air Force Base, well, I stopped hearing military stuff. There's not a lot of military stuff to hear in Montreal. So, hey there, Jim Kaysen, nice to have you on board. Shock, hello there. Edvaldo Lemus, yes, that red radio. Here's the little red radio that you're probably talking about. Here goes. So this is the Grundig FR200. I believe it is, let me just check, Tecsun GR-168. Is it the same as the Tecsun GR-168? So many receivers are made by Tecsun that, what does this look like? The Tecsun GR-168. Now this one was green. But if I look at it, sure looks like it. And shortwave 1, shortwave 2, 22 megahertz. Yeah, it is. It's the Tecsun GR-168. Exactly. So same radio, and still sold right now for $39. So this is a Grundig FR200. This is in the category of emergency radios. So of course you have the power generator for a crank. So you're cranking up the battery inside. You've got, of course, the rechargeable battery that's in the case here. So right here. So basically this is really an emergency radio. It has two shortwave bands, covers 3.2 to 22 megahertz in shortwave, AM, FM, and it has a little light here. So this is the like a really small incandescent bulb, and of course has a siren and everything. So it can be powered by crank, by batteries. You can recharge it if you want, and you know, it's an overall nice. I like it because it's red. Also, I chose the red color because I thought it was really cute. I believe they came in different colors, so I saw that the Tecsun one is green, and there's another one that's blue. I remember seeing, I believe, a blue, a yellow, a red, and a green one. So this one is the red one, and it's pretty nice, and it's quite sensitive. I gotta say, it's very, you know, it's an analog radio, so there's no fancy stuff in here. It's really an analog radio. It's surprisingly sensitive for a little analog radio. The only drawback is the drifting. It drifts a lot. So, you know, if you listen to, say you would listen to Glenn Hauser's World of Radio in half an hour, you'd probably retune at least 10 times in that half an hour to keep the radio on the frequency. The major drawback is that. But for the fact that it's an emergency radio, it would do the job because it is very sensitive, and it would really do its job as an emergency radio, I can say. So the Grundig FR200, or which is pretty much the Tecsun GR-168. So pretty cool. Hey, Richard in Atlanta, Georgia. Nice to have you on board. Says, hey, Joel, the past few mornings on 8095 kilohertz, has been hearing a CW transmission sending RIGMT ANDUW. Any idea and what from where this is? That's very interesting. I have no idea. And Vault says Google seems to have reports of it since maybe up to 2012. And by the way, hello there, Vault. Nice to have you on board. So, that's interesting. It could be. I know there is 8095. I'm not sure on what frequency, but I do believe Cuba has a spy number station that sends out CW. So that could be. Oh, here you go. Vault's just shared M08 Cuba 8096. So that's what you've been hearing. Thanks, Vaults, for sharing it. M08A, which is the Cuban Morse code emission. So they are on 7554, 8009, 8096, and 8135. And they have activity for 2011 up to 2015 here. So that's we've solved the mystery. That's Cuban number station on 8095, Rich. So pretty cool, and you know, it's fun having a nice chat room that kind of you know, has a lot of information to share, and that's pretty cool. And that's part of the fun here also. You know, there's knowledgeable people. You know, there are things that I know, things that you know, and we all, you know, complete with all the information. Hey there, Carol T. Nice to have you on board. Carrie Deer, greetings. Selling on eBay for 2,500. Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, of course, I'd be tempted, but I don't know. I have to check out, and I'd like to have an 8600. I got to say, I've when I bought my Icom ICR 8500, I told myself that was my last big receiver that I would buy in my life, probably. I had gone through a Kenwood R5000 that I had for, I had the Kenwood R5000 from 1990 up to 2011 or something like that. Fastload has it now, and it seems to be not working right. Then I got the 8500, was kind of one of my dream receivers, and I wanted to have a package because the reason I chose the 8500, I could have chose many other receivers. My main interest is shortwave, so I could have chosen a really good shortwave. Now the 8500 is a good shortwave, but it's not the best shortwave that I've seen. When my Kenwood R5000 was at top shape, it actually has an edge over my 8500 on shortwave. Yet it's still a very good shortwave radio. But what I wanted, and the reason I bought the 8500 was for the wideband frequency range. I thought, okay, I want to have a radio that not only kicks ass on shortwave, it kicks ass on VHF and UHF. And the 8500 does that. It is the best VHF, UHF receiver I've ever owned. And that is really the best, I can tell you that. And it is very good on shortwave. So I had, like a big package of, I could do pretty much anything I want, listen to pretty much everything I want in one radio instead of having different radios. Nureddin Mazari, bonsoir, bienvenue. Welcome to the show. Nice to have you on board. So, really, yeah, that could be, like Vaults says, I think you should wait till proper fully digital software-defined tabletops come out and prices come a bit down. Yeah, the 8600 does seem a very pretty much an SDR in a case. It's a computerized radio, and it does seem to be an SDR in itself. But we'll see. And anyways, lots of talk, but I don't have the cash to buy another radio like that for now. So I'm not going to get one, that's for sure. Not for now, anyways. If I get the money, that's another thing. Yes, it came in a bag. My red radio, by the way, I don't have it here, came with a carrying bag also. And I'm not sure. I think they had taped. I don't know if I have it here. I believe that red radio had a hand crank Grundig flashlight with it, but I don't know where it is. I think it came as a package. When I bought the Grundig DFR200, the red radio you just seen, it was, I believe I bought this at a Canadian Tire, and it was packaged with a flashlight in the package. On the top of the box was a flashlight taped to the box, and it was kind of a deal. You had the radio and a hand cranked flashlight with it, so it's kind of nice to have that. So really nice. So yeah, Jeff Miller says, I wish I kept my Icom R10 scanner. I still have my Yaesu VR500, which helps me understand your hatred for lithium-ion batteries where there's no option for AA, AAA. I don't like a radio that doesn't have an option for AA, AAA. I like and let's talk about it right now. My next radio, this is the Icom ICR20, and this is a wideband receiver, so it's a 150 kilohertz all the way up to 3 gigahertz. It's not super sensitive above 2 gigahertz because it uses a up converter to send the frequency range, or down converter. So it doesn't perform super well and has a lot of images above 2 gigahertz. Still, very, very, very cool radio with a lot of features. What I especially like with this is I just press the dual watch, and you can see here on the display there's 2 frequencies. I'm listening at 2 frequencies at the same time with the radio, and I can even scan if I want VHF band on up and UHF down at the same time. 2 scans going at the same time, receiving signals. That's one of the major features that I love. It's a great receiver, has all modes from as AM, FM, as wide FM, and as upper lower sideband CW modes, so you can listen to single sideband signals on VHF, UHF. As an internal recorder, so I can actually record what I'm listening to in the recorder. I can dump that in my PC using the a standard micro USB cable. And it's an overall very, very, very nice little radio. And to come back to what we were talking, the reason I love this radio also is that, yes, it is included with a lithium-ion battery, but they had the super cool intelligence of giving in the box a bracket. When you remove the lithium-ion, the bracket, you can actually put 3 AA batteries and fit them here. So if you don't want to buy a new lithium-ion battery in the future, what's cool, you just, put some rechargeable AA's and it's going to be all right. Or, it's really nice. Or if you're running out of power, you can at least put AA batteries, which are extremely easy to find everywhere. I always hate a radio that only relies on internal lithium ions, because when it's over, and when the battery will die eventually, you'll have to buy a new one. Often they are weird batteries that if they discontinue the radio, for example, it's almost impossible to find a battery in the future, stuff like that. At least with a radio like that, you really have the ease of use with AA batteries, and that is, I think the idea behind this was really, really good. So, it's not that I hate lithium-ion batteries, because, this one has the same lithium-ion battery since I bought the radio about 5 years ago. And it's still running really, really good. I still get 7-8 hours, easily 7-8 hours of listening with the battery right now. And, but, if it dies on me, I have the choice, buy another battery, or I'll just pop in the battery, the battery case that they give with it and put AA's. And at least, I've got the choice. And I really like when they do think about that. So it is a great looking radio also, that's true. The new R30, I don't know why, I find the R30 is a little not as beautiful as the R20. The R20 is a very beautiful radio. And you are right, Radioactive. So it's really nice. So a little back here in the in Brazil, the GR-88 costs $100 US. Man, it's $39.99 on the page that I was on a little earlier. Amazing. Is the Degen DE13 still a better choice for emergency radio? I do have a yes. I gotta say I've got a really, really my heart on emergency radios. This little Degen DE13 still has my. It's probably my favorite on all emergency receivers. One of the main things about it also is that this solar panel on the top. When you leave the radio in the sun for a full day, you will literally get a full evening of shortwave listening, and that doesn't happen often. I've seen a lot of radios with solar panels, but you leave it 4 hours in the sun and you get 20 minutes of radio. But this one, a full day in the sun, I can tell you, you got a full evening of radio. And of course with the crank and everything. And the fact that it also charges your cell phone in case of emergency. Of course, it won't give you a full charge, but it will give you a charge that might save your life. You know, if it gives you 5 minutes of cell phone, you might have the time to call 911 and say, hey, I need help. So that's for sure. That's for sure. MDK2 is currently listening to RN Radio New Zealand International 15720. So here it doesn't come in more like in the late evening. Oh yeah, Steve P says love my R5000. The Kenwood R5000 is amazing radio. I believe that's what Sheldon Harvey also uses as his main radio if he hasn't changed anything. Vanui de Otto in the Netherlands, hello there. Nice to have you on board. Jay Watterson 69, hello there. Have you given in and bought the Ernie in the bathtub radio yet? I have to. You know what? It's because I didn't think about it. Because I have to say, if I see it, I will want to buy it. I mean, it is the first radio I've ever, first radio I've ever had. Ernie in the bathtub. I need to get Ernie in the bathtub. About a few comments on the Icom ICR75. It is a great receiver, Jim Kaysen. The Icom ICR75 is a great shortwave radio. It, I believe, performs even a little better than my 8500 on shortwave. It's one of the best all-around receivers, the R75. Icom SDR75 is amazing shortwave radio. I wish I'd had one. And that's another model that's discontinued from Icom now, the R75. So, how did you string out and hang your alligator clip antenna wire that you were using yesterday? Okay, well, first of all, next to my window, I have a hook that is screwed in the ceiling because I used to have a bird in a cage. So I used to have a bird cage hung over there with a cockatiel. And when, of course, the bird died after 25 years, I took out, I decided I don't want to have another bird again. So, but the hook is still there. So I found another use for the hook. Hang a shortwave wire for an antenna. So basically, that's what I have. But if I didn't have that, I sometimes because alligator clips are cool because of their clipping capability. Sometimes I'll bring two alligator clip wire, and I'll use the other clip to clip on to something next to the window, for example. So if you got a window pane or you got some, draperies or something, you can clip it there and it's going to hold. And to do the show yesterday, for those that watched, we had these Scooby-Doo towels in the back of the on the wall because I thought the white wall was too white for the show. So we pinned the towels there. So I put the wire on, being held there by pins on the wall. So yeah, there's a few little tiny holes in the wall because of that, but that's pretty much how I hung it. So most of the time what I do is I will use alligator clips and clip it on something. What's cool with alligator clips on both ends is that you clip it on something, and once it's finished, once it's over, so for example, if you are listening to shortwave and your wife is getting tired of a wire being clipped somewhere, you can clip it, listen to the radio, and when it's over, you unclip it, and there, you've got a portable stuff, your portable antenna, basically, if you want. So it's Really nice. Simple Electricity says recently bought a Uniden UBC75 XLT and really love the receiver. Okay, that's cool. Hey, Paul Breck, nice to have you on board. Good evening. G7 EWS in England. Brett Wayne says got a cathode dynamo and solar. Works good, runs all night on solar power. That's cool. That's cool. DX wants a bird, yeah. I got DX after. Brett Wayne says, Sheldon's still using his R5000 for shortwave and a Sony ICF Cine 6800W orange for medium wave DXing. Oh, that's interesting. So, and how about your shortwave listening? Are you still, Sheldon, are you still very active? Do you still listen? By the way, Sheldon Harvey is one of the big honchos at the Canadian International DX Club. And we can put a little plug out, by the way, Sheldon, if you want to give me, if you have the website for the CIDX and, you know, all the membership information and how much it costs to get the electronic bulletin, I'd be happy to pass that on to people that maybe don't know about the Canadian International DX Club. It'd be great. Unfortunately, I should, you know, if it's still $10, I should really pay my dues and get back into the CIDX. I mean, I did enjoy going to the CIDX. So now pretty much everybody has a good stream tonight. It's you need to restart. If anybody has a stream problem and you seem to be alone, just refresh the page or close the browser and restart the browser. Come back. So Paul Burry, good afternoon in Toronto. Voice of America via Botswana coming in on 15730. That's a good frequency. That's one of the frequencies I do very often listen to. Steve P says all good. Carol says all good. Bobby Burgess says all good. So my stream should be quite all right. Hey there, Rick Robbins. Nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. And really nice. So yeah, you got to think that my upstream, you know, when I look at my software here, Wirecast, I'm sending a full 1080p. So my upstream here is an average of 4.5 megabits per second going up. So it does take a lot for the full scale. So so shortwave guests, do you have any scanners? Yeah, we just you probably just missed quickly. Realistic Pro 43, the Icom ICR20, which is technically not a scanner but more a wideband receiver. I also have over there a you guys can see it, but I've got a Realistic Pro 2006 scanner that I love. We'll end with the other scanners and then we'll go to shortwave only. This is an eBay find. The Uniden Burkat. What's the model on this thing? This is the Burkat. It's the BC60 XLT. This is really a basic, portable scanner. This I bought on eBay because the guy was selling it for like $20 plus $5 shipping. So I was like, $25 for another radio. Let's take it. So it has 30 to 54, 108 to 174, and 406 to 512 megahertz. So it doesn't go to the upper 800 megahertz, but works fine. And actually, the guy said it doesn't work on eBay, and that's why I was selling it really low. And I said, well, I'll take it anyway. And when I got it, I opened it up. In the battery compartment, one of the wires that goes to the battery compartment was just hanging. It wasn't soldered there anymore, so I just soldered it back on the battery compartment. Works fine. So this is another one of our little scanners here. And oh yeah, that's true. Shortwave Central, thank you for reminding me. But Sheldon Harvey is also host of the International Radio Report that is available on podcast and is also streamed live via CKUT 90.3 FM here in Montreal on Sunday mornings, by the way. So basically, that's yeah. Well, after we do that, I'll turn the camera and we'll go to the rest of the stuff that's here on my table. That's totally really, like, really I should do some, put everything back together because it's just like hell there. But so okay, so just continue here just to see if I've got anything. Bullfrog 89, what's the furthest away you've received medium wave broadcast? The longest for me is 880 out of New York, about 675 miles away. Back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, when I got my Kenwood R5000, I received Norway on 13, I believe it was, 1341 kilohertz? I don't remember what's the frequency. It was 13 something. But I remember hearing Norway on medium wave. So that's, do the math, from Montreal to Oslo is like, I don't know, several thousand miles. So that's the furthest that I've ever received. And that was when my noise floor was really low. And I could distinctly hear the Norwegian language on, it's very distinct language. So I could hear Norwegian. And I remember listening and saying, wow, I'm receiving Norway on medium wave. That's the furthest that I've ever received. I've received once on 800 kilohertz here in Montreal. We have a station called CJAD, so you can't DX on 800 kilohertz. But many years ago, they were off for a couple of nights for some maintenance, and I was able to hear Transworld Radio in Bonaire, Netherlands Antilles, one night. And that was one night, because the next night I said, hey, I'm going to listen again, and it wasn't there anymore. So it's like, you got to take it when propagation's there. I can tell you that. So, can tell you that. Sheldon says, CIDX.ca, the website, it's still $10 a year for membership to the Canadian International DX Club bulletin. So you get an e-bulletin every month. It's 3 years for $25 US or Canadian for membership. And it's a full coverage DX Club. So you can get a free sample e-bulletin, by the way. You just email cidxclub@yahoo.com. And I can tell you, I've been a member there of CIDX many years, and I should really go back. And you know what? That's gonna be my my thing to do today. After the show, I'm going to send my $10 dues, Sheldon, to get back in the club. And we're going to it's a fun, it's a great bulletin. It has full coverage of the radio spectrum, and it's a great little bulletin to get every month. And $10 a year, it costs nothing, so it's really not expensive to receive some information. So okay. David Arden got a station in Toronto on 1440 when he was in England, using an R390 from his workplace. Got a valued QSL card from them. Yeah, I remember that. I actually have a few QSL cards from medium wave stations in the 80s. Back then they had budget, so back then you could receive tons of information from medium wave stations. I remember writing to a lot of US stations that sent me all sorts of information on their station and everything. That was cool. Okay, what else do we have here? MDK2 says he can receive Canadian stations most evening. So, wow, pretty cool. Pretty cool. What happened to Red Radio? Well, it's down because I don't want to put it back because, as I drink beer, I don't remember which ones that I picked up. Well, I will remember, but it's easier to... Hey there, Sweden. Banu Shatanya. Sorry. Yeah, just refresh. It's unique to certain... And Sheldon says payment for the CIDX can be made via PayPal also. So count me in, Sheldon. I'll send you the $10 at the latest tomorrow. I just have to I have to get back into CIDX. I'm Canadian after all. I should be in a Canadian radio club. I think that would be normal. And I've been here in Canada. There were several clubs in Canada. There was the Ontario DX Association that I remember. Here in Quebec, we had a French one called COCQ, which is the Club en Cours du Québec. I was a member of that club for many years, and the first years I found it was nice, but you know what? It was a weird club because a lot of tension, and it was way too. My idea of being in a radio club is we're all enjoying one hobby, is listening to shortwave. That personally, I also think that when you are listening to shortwave and you've been a shortwave listener for a long time, I do think and I hope that for a lot of us, we kind of have more of an open mind. And basically, the Quebec Shortwave Club was too closed on itself, and it was really getting, in the last years, I was the guy making the log section in that bulletin every month, and I got to say, I got tired because I got tired of all the people in there, and I thought, okay, and I don't see that in CIDX, and Canadian International DX Club is more of a, it's more relaxed and more fun. It's what a club should be, having fun listening to the radio, and that's it. I got to say that. Okay, yeah, I do recommend that also. David Arden's talking about the Spectrum Monitor. Spectrum Monitor is an amazing magazine. I am subscribed to the Spectrum Monitor. If you guys like reading about radio, it comes out in a PDF every month. I put it on my iPad and read it on my iPad. I love it. $24 a year, and you get 12 numbers. The only weird thing about the way they work is that if you subscribe now, you'll get this year's 12. You're not subscribing now until February of next year. You're going to pay $24 for this year. That means you have access to the January book or magazine, and go up to the go to December, because probably it's easier for them to manage. It's like in December they're going to tell you, hey, you have to renew your subscription, and everybody renews at the same time. So yes, I do think that is. What else do we have? Yeah, I've heard a lot. Jeffrey Kropp, I've heard a lot about. There's a new post on the Shortwave Listening website about the Tecsun S8800, the Tecsun S8800. It is to avoid, apparently has a major glitch, a major problem that actually made that person not recommend the Tecsun S8800 at all. Now, I don't remember what was the glitch. I remember reading it. I just don't remember what was the problem with it. But the Tecsun PL8800 is not recommended right now. Apparently, it has some problems. So, can tell you. I think it's gotta wait. Maybe they'll, kind of do an upgrade or firmware update to that receiver. Movie Man 44, hello there. Nice to have you on board. It's got a Kato KA1103, and it quit working. Try to reset. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you were saying last time, Movie Man. You pressed all sorts of buttons, and it just started, Oh, yeah, then there's birdies all over. Birdies everywhere. Hey, Griffin, yeah. Well, that's one of the problems. There's birdies everywhere, and there's all sorts of things that you can't recommend anybody buy it, for sure. That's why MDK2 saying it's one person doing all the work. So that's why they do the subscription like that to kind of manage. Hey there, KG7EBK, Matt. Nice to have you on board. Rich, does anybody own or have used a new MFJ 1886 receiving loop antenna? If so, what do you think of it? Anybody has an MFJ 1886? Rich wants to know. And that is... We'll check for responses to that, and we'll continue to check it out. Brett Wayne says belongs to the ARRL World and the World Amateur Radio SSTV Club. Oh, that's nice. And yeah, it's not. I had a few. Carol says he's just tried listening to the audio archive on CKUT. It is not the most performing website in the world. I agree with that because I've gone many times to the CKUT website for to get the international radio report after. And yes, it is sometimes not super. Try it again a little later, but it should work. CKUT, I believe it's ckut.ca or something like that. So okay. Let's take the last scanner, because if we don't move on, we'll have 20 million shows about radios. We're already an hour and 10 minutes into the show. You're watching the Shortwave Show from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My name is Gilles, and we talk about radios. Right now, we're in the middle of my radio collection. So we're checking out each receiver and the story behind some of them. So here we have a Radio Shack Pro 92 receiver. This is a trunk scanner. So I bought this from Universal Radio in the United States because this was not sold here in Canada. It cost me a nice $500 and something, but this was the first receiver where I actually got the big surprise of what is UPS. UPS, that company, with the brown trucks. They Universal Radio sent me this via UPS, and I got it home, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. I got the radio, and the guy just looks at me and says, oh, by the way, you owe us $126. And I'm like, what the hell? Oh yeah, because you got to pay for the duties and all sorts of things that they do. And I'm like, $126. So at the end, this receiver that's $580 around Canadian cost me a whopping $700 total when you count every fee that I had to pay for it. So, I better love it. It's not a radio that's worth $700, but anyways, I wanted to have my first trunk scanner. There was none available here, and I bought that back then. So, and you got a lesson. I got a lesson from it. Never order from the United States from UPS. Now I know that you order from the United States and you just basically, want your stuff from the a U.S. Postal Service instead. Yeah, that Brett Wayne, you resume everything. 700. Wow, it is wow. I could have had a much better radio for $700 back then. But anyways, you got to learn sometimes, and I've learned. So Oh, that's cool. Just got a new CIDX member for 3 years after hearing about the CIDX. So welcome, Neil. No problem, Sheldon. I'm really happy. Really happy. And you'll get me back tonight or tomorrow. So I'll send my dues for sure. So yeah, it's completely crazy, you know. UPS, it's when I order something from the United States now, when somebody tells me, oh, it's UPS, we only use UPS, I always say, you know what's sad? It's because if you just use UPS, I won't order from you, because I'm gonna get charged some ridiculous amount when I get the package, and I'm not gonna pay extra for that. So, you know, I always tell them, send it by the U.S. Postal Service, because if you send it by UPS, it's, you know, I'm going to get screwed. That's for sure. So, Carol T's got the latest radio report now. Cool. So it's a nice show, by the way. It's often, not every Sunday, because I don't always think about it, but very often in the Sunday morning, I look at the clock. It's like, oh, it's 10:25 or something. And I tell myself, oh, I'm gonna listen to the international radio report. It's a nice show. Spodule 6000, hello there from the UK, and it's nice to have you on board. He's recently received a Matsui MR499, which is an ATS 803A. Just getting back into shortwave, enjoying the show. Cool. And you know, one of the things that I love about what I'm doing, because that's the main idea behind all of this first, it was to bring new technology and shortwave listeners together. And I think it's cool because I'm really succeeding in doing it. And I'm having a lot of fun doing this and sharing not only my knowledge, but everybody's knowledge, because, you know, there are some parts of shortwaves I know well, some parts of shortwave or amateur radio you guys know better. But also, you know, it's like I always say, it's a lonely hobby. And when you can join in and have fun with a bunch of other people that are the same aliens that you are, because let's face it, we are really apart in our hobby, and people look at us like we are very, very, you know, very strange people. But at least we can, you know, join in together. Okay. Okay. Do you think CB radio will ever come back big like it was in the 70s? I don't think so, Movie Man. You know what? The main reason why it never will come back, really, I think, you know, first of all, these little cheap FRS and GMRS radios just are a gazillion times better than whatever portable we had back then for CB. I think it's something that was cool for a time. I do not want the CB band to be allocated to something else. You know, I'd be sad to see the CB band being removed and given to some other use. So I hope it stays there. I think there will always be the, you know, CB here and there, but you know what? There's a lot of skip. I gotta say, there's a lot of CBers from the United States that would get up to here, and well, they probably aren't running the regular, regular 4 watts. But hey, but I do hope that it stays. You know, pretty cool. Sheldon says the 30th anniversary of the Winter Shortwave Festival coming March 2nd. 3rd and 4th, 2017, near Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. So you can get all the details at swlfest.com. Sheldon is heading down there, as he is pretty much every year, I believe. And it's a great place to be for shortwave listeners. I've never been there. I would love to go there. That's for sure. Really would be a very nice thing to do. You know, I need to, maybe next year, I would need to really, you know, check out how I can deal all of that. And of course, going to the US, I would need to get my passport, which I don't have right now. So so that's, you know, one of the big shortwave festivals, basically. So it's coming March 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2017, near Philadelphia. And you can get the details at swlfest.com. MDK2 Super says Super Bowl channel 6, which is 27025, is fun to listen to sometimes. Those guys are running a bit more power than 4 watts. Oh, I can tell you that. I can tell you that. You know, that's my beacon. I want to know if 10 meters is open. I want to know if the upper bands are open. I just turn on my CB, put it on channel 6. If I hear a bunch of Americans there, okay, the upper frequency range are open, or there's sporadic E-skip or something, because you hear them only when this, like Carol T says, speaking of CB, there's no skip right now. So, yep. Brett wants to go to the Dayton Hamfest. Yeah, that seems to be a really big one too, the Dayton Hamfest. Hey, I'm Apper from Moscow, says, yeah, Saturday show is usually more popular. I gotta say also that I do advertise it on more platforms. I do send out a post on the DX Listening Digest Yahoo group, and also on the HF Monitors Yahoo group. So I actually get a lot more people that will see that I'm doing something live. And so yeah, it is, in general, it is more, and you know, being Saturday, a lot of people are not working also. So basically it helps in the numbers, but it is, it's nice to see 80 people watching live. And I've been having, you know, I've been finding this really fun. Of all the shows that I do, the one that is most, the 2 shows that are most popular are the ones that I do on the Shortwave channel. My Windows channel doesn't have as much as popularity in the general video views. But on the live shows, I don't get the numbers I get on the Shortwave channel. I mean, on the Shortwave channel, I can easily have 1,500 views after 3 or 4 days of posting the live video feed. So, you know. Yeah, I do think Dayton is the biggest Amfest in the US and probably in North America, I would say. Jack Flint says, I use CB SSB, have some fun. You know, there's a gang here. You know, I've been having in the past few months, I've been enjoying listening to channel 17. There's a gang on channel 17 that's been hanging out in upper sideband almost every evening. So let's go to other radios if we want to advance in our radio stuff. Here is the Eton FR300. Now this is another emergency receiver. And by the way, SG2 East Nebraska says that 16180 Cuban number lady. So if you want to hear some number station, HM01 Cuban lady 16180. And it's S9 in East Nebraska right now. So this is a FR300. So, you know, you can see it does resemble partly, you know, the little red one from earlier. So hand crank for power also. And but this one does not have shortwave. This one has something different, AM, FM, and the TV channels. So you could listen to TV audio on this before they were digital. Now these are useless, But before, you had the TV channels on this. And so there's also the weather channel. So here the big button is to switch on the different weather channels. And basically, you know, I probably bought this because it was on sale, and I was like, okay, another radio, why not? Sorry, guys. You know, I'm kind of like that. It's like I see a radio on sale, I gotta have a radio. So basically, so hand crank. This one has in the back what you need to. It comes with adapters. This one was interesting for that. On the back here, there's a plug, and that plug came with about 10 or 12 different adapters for all cell phones. And you could actually charge almost any cell phone that was sold back then. They're pretty useless today, but this is another nice little addition of receivers. And I believe this one also came packaged with an extra. I'm not sure, but I think, let me just check it out here. I had the little red portable receiver that I just can't find. Oh, here it is. This Icom receiver, I think, was packaged with this. I had this Icom receiver, and on the top, and once again at Canadian Tires, and on the top I had this. And I remember I bought it because this alone was like 40 bucks. This alone was like 60 bucks. And they had a sale, and they had both together. And I believe I paid like $40 for both radios. So I thought, wow, okay, I get a shortwave portable and this one for 40 bucks, which was, I think, a good deal. And that's mainly why I bought it. If I had to pay 50 or 60 bucks for it, I don't think I would have bought that. So another little story. And is there a digital converter box for the Icom? Well, you could use the digital converter box audio that comes out on channel 3 and listen to the audio through it. That would be interesting. So oh wow, 30th anniversary. Wow, it's a long time. That's been a long time. Sheldon says International Radio Report on CKUT FM 90.3 in Montreal. You can get it on ckut.ca. We'll celebrate 30th anniversary on the air in November. Wow. I remember, man, I think the first time I listened to the International Radio Report, I believe I stumbled, let me just think about it. Yeah, I believe I stumbled across it totally by accident. I was tuning around the FM band a Sunday morning, and I came across somebody talking about radio. And if I'm not mistaken, when I heard the broadcast, the International Radio Report, I immediately recognized Sheldon Harvey's voice, because I met Sheldon Harvey a few times in person. And I remembered his voice. So when I stumbled and they were talking about radio and I was hearing his voice, it was like, oh, this sounds like Sheldon. And yep. Far too many gadgets, says Shelly, are costing me money. I just joined the Canadian International DX Club and resubscribed to the Spectrum monitor. That's enough for today. Well, you know, they are great sources of news, of information of all sorts. So I got to say, it is worth it. Both are worth it. You know, $10 is really not expensive for a year on the CIDX, and it's a nice little bulletin every month. Really nice. Spectrum monitors. I think Spectrum monitor, if you have the cash to pay $24 US a year, it's worth it. You know what? I was a big, because, by the way, for those that haven't checked it out, okay, the Spectrum monitor is totally like the Monitoring Times magazine that was before. Okay, so anybody that saw Monitoring Times, it's totally the same type of magazine, but except it's electronic only. It's in PDF, so you get it on your computer. And I send it to my iPad. I like reading it on the iPad. So sometimes, you know, it's kind of cool. And there's some really nice articles like this one. There's one that I went through was really interesting. Is the about the Russian woodpecker that was in the 80s, and it's a very interesting article. And there's a lot of stuff. In there for all sorts of listening of any kind. From digital modes to satellites for amateur radio stuff. Shortwave listeners have some stuff to listen to. The latest news of everything what's happening on the radio. It is a very, very nice subscription to get for any radio fan, I gotta say. I would say that it is maybe more... Okay, I subscribed to Monitoring Times a few times, and then I got bored. You know, magazines have this way of reinventing and going back into the same things every time. And after a while, you're like, okay, well, you know, this is the 4th time that they're talking about Radio Romania. So, and they have 4 pages on it, and it's like, okay, I think I'm let it off. So, Monitoring Times, I actually unsubscribed once. But it didn't matter because I had a place here downtown where I could actually get Monitoring Times if I needed to buy one. So what I would do instead on Monitoring Times is I'd go there and I'd pick up the magazine, check out the articles, and when they were interesting, I would, buy it. And when it was a month that was kind of boring, I'd leave it there. But I got to say that the Spectrum Monitor, it's my 3rd year now that I'm... I've started subscribing in like almost at the beginning of Spectrum Monitor, and I still have yet to be bored of that magazine. It always has at least 1 or 2 little things, articles in there that are interesting and that will keep me going there all the time. So it's pretty cool. Jay Watterson, yeah, there are a lot of radios that resemble each other. I look at the C-Crane. A lot of the C-Crane radios look like the Tecsun radios. So there's, sometimes you're wondering exactly who exactly copied who. Luis Arevalo, how much in Canada? How much for what? Howard Parker says BDXC in the UK, £17 for 12 issues posted, less than £1.50 a month. Well, that's not expensive. It's probably more expensive for the international user because usually when they send it out. Hey, David in Barcelona. Nice to have you on board. And Carol, good question. Let me just check it out here. DGDX schedule. The DGDX schedule is... So Stephen Cooper's DGDX is on Sundays on 11580 kilohertz. That's WRMI frequency, and it's at 2030 and 2330 UTC if you want to tune in. So DGDX is each week on 2030 and 2330 UTC on 11580 kilohertz Sundays. And it is a broadcast mainly in MFSK32 mode. If you want to know how you decode that, you use FLDG software. And that is a mode inside that software. You just plug the audio from your radio to your computer and put the software in MFSK32. It's a nice little bulletin, and pretty cool to hear it. So DGDX from Stephen Cooper is a nice little thing to check out. So yeah, tomorrow's not today, and you've changed the time, by the way. I need to really check it out. I've been telling Stephen Cooper that I'll check it out, and for some reason I'm always not checking it out. Hey Kimberly, K6YYL in California, nice to have you here. Really cool to have everybody on board watching. Can SDRs decode digital signals including slow scan TV? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And I actually have done. Maybe I should do a few more videos. You take the SDR audio directly from. What's cool is that you can take the audio within the computer. So by putting the stereo, like in Windows, add the stereo mix audio, and you can actually just decode within the computer without any cables or anything, and you will decode some digital signals for sure. So KI6YWP, Kimberly, K6YYL, nice to have you here. Carol says, caught the VOA radiogram this morning, 5865, with reception S9. Yeah, and it's tonight at, it is Saturday evening North America, which is Sunday UTC at 0230, I believe, on 5745. And it usually comes in really well. Really well. And yes, a nice tip from Vanuit de Auto says, if stereo mix isn't there, you can use voice meter to have that. But yep, it is going to work. So it's fun. The VOA radiogram stuff, DGDX from Stephen Cooper are great little things to try out, and to add another side to your radio listening by adding decoding digital modes and stuff like that for shortwave. So they are cool for that. Okay. Oh, it's your old call sign. Huh, that's interesting. So, okay, that's why you have it with your old call sign. Okay. I'm out of beer. And so before I refresh, let's continue on. So this one, I'm not sure if I talked last time, but if I did, I'm sorry. I'll do it again. This is the Degen DE32. It's a AM, FM, and multiple shortwave bands portable receiver. It's interesting because it has, first it comes with a lithium-ion battery so you don't put in, so you see here you've got a lithium-ion battery in here. You don't put in AA's or anything. This is a radio that you charge. And it is interesting because this is a digital/analog, meaning inside it's the Silicon Integrated 4734 chip, which is basically a DSP shortwave radio on a small chip, but with a analog dial in the front. So it feels weird when you tune in. It is sensitive to a certain point, but not the best of the portables I've seen. But it has one little thing, is that here there's a slot for a micro SD card. And you could put, for example, your favorite podcasts. Say you download the CKUT international radio reports. You can put them on the micro SD card, put it in there, and you've got a little radio that plays any MP3s that you shove on the micro SD card. So you can download your, World of Radio, and say you download like World of Radio and the International Radio Report. You put it on your micro SD. You put the micro SD card in here, and you'll be able to play that on this receiver. So the reason I bought this was because of the uniqueness of its SD card reader with that weird analog but digital DSP type tuning. I don't remember the price I paid for this, but it wasn't very expensive. It was like $40 or $45 maybe. And basically, it's an okay performer. It doesn't drift because it's really a digital radio inside, even though it has a little dial. But if you would like to tune shortwave bands, this is not the best that I've seen. It does an okay job, but it's not really fantastic. I should do a few more videos with it. And the fact that it can read MP3s on a micro SD card is also very unique and kind of cool, So small, portable, and I saw that and I was like, okay. Hey there, Tane from Florida. Nice to have you on board. And it's kind of cool little things here. By the way, the CIDX Club has a Facebook page, and also the International Radio Report has a Facebook page, so you can check it out. Hey, Hal Hutchison, nice to have you on board from the UK. Been a while. What else do we have here? Okay, I'll just refill if you guys don't mind. I'm going to take another beer, and this one is a blueberry flavored beer from a local brewery. So we're gonna. These are like 5%, so it's not too bad. It's not like La Fin du Monde. If I drink 4 Fin du Monde, I'd be totally wasted at 9%. Or the other one yesterday that I had with my nephew, the Terrible, 10.5%. That was like, oh man, drink 4 of those and you're like gone, totally gone. So we'll take this one quite fast. And no, this one is the one he liked. What he didn't like is what was the name? I'm trying to remember the name. There was one that wasn't very good. He didn't really like the Terrible. Gabe doesn't like beers that have too much alcohol usually, because they do have a kind of stingy taste to it. Hey, Danny, Shortwave Radio DX. Nice to have you on board from Yonkers, New York. Yonkers, New York. Okay. Of course, the world famous Icom GP5 SSB receiver. So I've got the little medium wave antenna on it. And of course, the shortwave antenna is here. This is, of course, a nice gift that I was given by Icom in California. And I want to thank once again Nick, that is often in the chat for the gift of the GP5 SSB. So this story behind it, I got it for free, and it was my Christmas gift last year. Love this radio. I gotta say, you know what? The only thing that's missing to make this radio a really nice one is a keypad. Because if it had a keypad, it would be one of the perfect portables to bring along. It's very sensitive. The easy tuning mode on this one is amazing because it really picks out even weak stations. And, like I always say, easy tuning mode, I always thought, when I got my first Tecsun PL380, I thought that easy tuning mode was kind of a gimmick. A lot of shortwave radios have these buttons that do things. And, personally, I never found scanning through the shortwave bands useful. It was never something that I liked. But easy tuning mode is different, and it fetches the station. And I got to say, the Icom GP5 SSB is amazing for that. So, nice little radio. It's the same, by the way, if you guys see the Tecsun PL365, this is the same radio. It's actually made by Tecsun. And so this one is the Icom version. but the Tecsun PL365 is the same radio. It's a long wave, medium wave, short wave, full general coverage. It goes up to 29,999, which is unusual for a portable. Most portables like these have, shortwave bands or a range that's a little smaller, and it has upper lower sideband tuning, which is also unique, with of course a little tuning. It's really great. I have a lot of videos, and I think I'm going to do a few more and post them on the channel. Very, very nice little portable receiver. Very sensitive, and one overall great performer. So, yep, I got 2 of the GP5s, Bobby. I did get 2 of them. And I'm actually, I didn't know at first. I wanted to see if I wanted to maybe do some kind of raffle or something. I finally decided on the 2 Icom GP5 to use one that will be always with me. So it's gonna, be in a rugged environment. I always bring it with me, put it in my jacket everywhere. The other one I stay here. And what I did is, one is kind of more dedicated to medium wave, long wave. The other one is like more short wave, Bobby. Carol says takes his PL365 to work when he got gate duties and listen to it all night. That's cool. That's at least a nice way to enjoy, have a little more enjoyment of the work time, listening to your favorite hobby. And yes, I will post more videos of the GP5. I think I had a few people ask me to do so, post a little more videos. Okay, let's continue. Now this is technically not a radio per se, but it's a frequency counter. This is the Radio Shack frequency counter. Goes from, if I remember well, from like 1 kilohertz all the way up to 1 gigahertz or something like that. So this is a frequency counter. What's a frequency counter? Basically, if I put an antenna on this and I broadcast a signal, it's going to tell me the frequency. So maybe I could do a test. I think the batteries are in. Yep, batteries are in. Look at that, guys. I'm going to do a little test. You guys are going to see what it is. So I'm going to take this and I'll put it here. So a frequency counter, as can, for example, in this case, pick up a signal from the air and give you its frequency. So it's counting the numbers of cycles per second that you are right now broadcasting. So here I'm going to put it in fast mode, and I'm going to put it in below 50 megahertz. So let's just do a test here. I think this one has batteries in it. So channel 14 is 14.125, and so we're going to check it out. So here's the frequency, and now I'm going to transmit on channel 14 here. Here we go. 14.125.126. If I put it with a little more precision, gate speed, there it goes. Now I get a little more precision. Now I'm going to transmit. So I'm transmitting on 27.125.2, which is not bad at all when you consider these are old walkie-talkies. So you see that it can actually count and tell you what frequency a transmitter is on. But the thing is, you got to be very close, because just look at the display right now. You see it's giving out random numbers. Why? Because all the signals around here are not, there's not a signal stronger than the other or strong enough for it to say, oh, I got one that's the frequency. So you have to be close to a transmitter for this. And it also comes with a little adapter that you put here and clips, and you can actually put it and measure frequencies of internal electronic circuits. So I bought this because this was something that was like $129 forever, And one day I went to the Radio Shack, and they wanted to just, not have these anymore. So it was on sale for like, I think I paid 39 bucks. And by the way, it's full metal. This is metal, really metal casing, amazing. So basically, that's the Radio Shack frequency counter, and really enjoyed. I believe there's a second model that has a different frequency range, but it's a nice add to the radio stuff, basically, and really nice. Hey, that's cool, Gerald. Listening in the park, nice way to enjoy the beautiful weather and just have fun. So pretty cool. So okay, what else? That's a cool tour. Would it work if you come close to a big broadcast transmitter, as close as they allow to the public? I've never tested it. If there was one transmitter, I would guess. Well, you know what? Wait a minute. I did with. There was a station with one there was a Haitian station here in Montreal on 1610, and they were like not even a kilometer away from where I live, maybe about a kilometer and a half from where I live, and I remember one day going out and trying to have my frequency counter pick up the frequency. And in front of the building, because they had a loop antenna on top of the building, I couldn't get a match of 1610 kilohertz. But the frequency counter was going down in frequency as I was getting closer. Maybe if I had like a bigger antenna on it, maybe a loop or something, maybe it would have done it, because okay, that little antenna isn't made for 1.6 megahertz. So basically, but I would suppose on very powerful station it would be possible. I would say it would be possible, and there's a lot of these. There's a company. I'm trying to remember the name of the company that makes these. There's a company in the US that makes some of these that are much higher. Much higher. So Jeff Miller just signed up for 1 year to CIDX. Well, I guess we're going to have a lot of members for CIDX. That's cool. Hello there, 1990 Sunbird. Nice to have you on board. DX the Cat. Let's just open the door and see if DX the Cat ever wants to come. I'm just going to put it like this. Because there was a lot of noise a little earlier, so I closed the door. But Optoelectronics. Yes, Sheldon. Thank you. Optoelectronics. That's the company. Thank you, Sheldon, for adding that. They do make frequency counters of high. There's a lot of high quality frequency counters. But it is cool. It's kind of cool. But you have to be, if you want to use this in an environment to know a transmitter frequency, you would basically almost have to say, excuse me, can you transmit so I can check out the frequency? You have to be really close. That's for sure. 1990 Sunbird, CIDX is the Canadian International DX Club, which is a Canadian radio club. And you can subscribe for $10 a year and have a bulletin every month. So, Steve says Uniden has a built-in function called close call. That's nice. That's really nice. So, pretty cool. Let's continue on. Okay, this is in the category of let's get a cheap radio. So, QFX, FM, AM, Shortwave 1 and Shortwave 2, 4-band portable radio. This I bought last year at a local electronics store here. It's a crappy receiver. It doesn't receive very well. And actually, it was funny because the first video I posted, I was able to receive, I think, Radio Romania. And somebody posted a comment below on the channel and said, How the hell do you get Radio Romania on that junk? I have one, and I've never been able to get even a signal. And I gotta say, it is a very crappy radio. It takes, I believe, D batteries, so it's super heavy because of the D batteries. Here we go, D batteries. And it has a power adapter right here, and it comes with a power cord. Cheap radio, not worth buying. I got it because, hey, I wanted to have a radio. And, you know, sometimes it's nice to try out and see how these things work. So, cheap radio. The only positive side, because of the big speaker, has interesting sound. So, you know, I would see this more as a, let's use this as a kitchen table radio for listening to FM or AM signals, not for DXing anything. And forget it, the shortwave on this is so crappy that you're just never going to go to shortwave again. I can tell you that. Anybody starting out on shortwave with that radio, I can tell you one thing, is that they're never going to want to listen to shortwave again. So, Danny Shortwave Radio DX says, use close call on my scanner, works very well. Cool, cool. Yeah, it does have the same, but it's horrible. I can tell you that. Edward Martz, nice to have you on board, by the way. It has the same looks as the ICF38, but it's really crappy. But it's made by QFX, the same ones that make the boombox that I got here. Okay, story behind this one. This is a Grundig Travel 2 PE. It has a unique function because here you have two clocks in the display when it's shut down, and there's a little panel that you open, and it has the time zones that you can select here, which changes the time zones and the time here, and basically has a little world map in here. It's a small portable. It's kind of cute. I gotta say it's cute. This thing was like, I don't know, $50 for a long time at Radio Shack. And the story behind this one is I was shopping with my mom, and you know, when a 20-year-old-ish guy shops with his mom, he's kind of bored. So, of course, when he goes to the shopping mall, the first thing that he's going to say is, hey, Mom, while you're looking at your, you know, the dress and the things you're going to buy, and, oh, good idea, go to that bra store, and I'm going to go to Radio Shack, and we'll meet in the shopping mall or something. So I went in, and it was on sale at like $25. I believe I paid $24.99, if I remember well. And I thought, oh, it's a cute little radio, you know, and it's Grundig. Mustn't be too bad. It's Grundig. Well, this thing is very, very, very insensitive. I mean, it has a lot of difficulty picking up anything but the strongest of signals. And I was a little, you know, I was sad because it looked cool. And when I got home and I started listening to shortwave with this, I was like, oh crap, it doesn't receive shortwave very well. And I don't know, I hope it's not because it's defect, but I don't think so. I think this thing just isn't at all a good radio. So anyway, it does look cool, and I like the little panel that you open, and you know, and it does receive AM and FM at least. So you know, I kept it because I was thinking, oh, maybe I should, you know, return it or something, and I was like, I'm gonna keep it. It's one more radio. But I am surprised also because you know, it's Grundig, and I mean, this is Grundig from 1992 or something. So, you know, in that time, when I saw Grundig, I was thinking, well, it must be an okay receiver. It must be an okay receiver, but no, it's not sensitive. You know, if I just turn it on now, because there are batteries in it, we're just going to try it out. Look at that. I extend the antenna. I'm going to turn it on. And let's try to listen to something. Okay, so let's go to, this is shortwave 4, 3. Okay, let's try the 31 meter band. Okay, it's receiving Radio Exterior de España on 9690 kilohertz. The only reason I know is because they're having sports in Spanish. So it's getting that. It's pretty much the only signal in 31 meter band. So you see that it's very insensitive. 7 megahertz. Nothing much. It's deaf, totally deaf. This is a very, very deaf radio. So you see, I got Spain, but that's the only thing I got basically. So you know, not really that great a radio, but it is cool looking, and you know, it's a 9 out of 10 in the coolness of what it looks like, a 1 out of 10 in performance, for sure. Hey there, William Helms. Nice to have you on board, and it's pretty cool. David says that's basically how I got my ICF Shortwave 11. I went with my mother to a local store. She needed a small oven the size of a microwave oven, and there I went with her. They had radios too. That, you know, that's what happens. You know, you go with your mom somewhere and it's like, okay, do you think this color's nice, or that color, or that color? And you're like, okay, I'm really getting bored, and you're the one who likes the colors. I don't care. Yeah, the green one's fine. But then she looks like, I'm not sure about greens. Like, okay, oh, there's radios over there. So why don't you choose your colors, and I'm going to get my radios, okay? When the sales guy saw that I was interested in them, he offered me the ICF Shortwave 11 as it was a multiband and I could enjoy it more. My mother accepted to buy it for me, and this is how I discovered shortwave. Wow, interesting story. How you discovered shortwave? Well, it did pay off to go, you know, shopping with your mom. But you know, it's like shopping with people I know. You know, I have my sister. My sister has her dollar store shopping list, and I'm like, seriously, you have a shopping list for dollar store? Oh, please. You know, you just want to die. So, but you know, when you're a great guy, you're just like, okay, where are the pens? Okay, excuse me, where are the pens? Oh, okay, aisle 14 are the pens. Okay. Oh, those are not the pens you want. Oh, you want them pink. Okay. Anyways, I'll stop whining. Okay, is that the? I'm searching for one. No, this is not the one. Anyways, okay, this is a Chinese radio, and I was looking at that for a while. So this is the Retson RP300, I believe. Yeah, Retson RP300 with everything written in Chinese on the radio. This is a AM/FM shortwave receiver with a digital display. It is weird because the encoder, it clicks every time you turn. There's a click. Instead of being very smooth, it's click, 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 click. But you know, it was kind of one of those cheap shortwave radios on eBay. That was like, I don't know, something like, I don't think I paid more than $30 for this. This was really inexpensive. And I thought, well, okay, it looks cool. I'm gonna take one. And it arrived, and the seller actually gave me a link to a English manual on the internet. So the Retson RP300 is okay. But it's not very sensitive. That's another one that's not very sensitive. And it has this very awkward way of entering frequencies. You have to press an enter button, then you enter the frequency, and you got to press it again or something like that. It's very, very bizarre. And so, you know what? it's like I am the guy that I get a radio and I just play with the radio, and after I look at the manual, well, this thing, for an hour I was unable to punch in a frequency, so I finally looked at the manual that showed me that, oh, you press the enter button and you enter the frequency, and you're like, why the hell did you make it so complicated to enter a damn frequency? So you know, it's kind of weird, and it's, you know, not super sensitive. It's not one of the best. It's not one of the best radios around, and it was mostly because it was inexpensive, and basically that's pretty much what I have to say about this. Cheap radio I bought just because it was there and it looked nice, but one of those that you kind of forget about it. I don't believe I made many videos with this one. I made a review. I remember I made a review of it on the channel. I don't remember making many videos because I basically didn't receive a lot with that. It overloads also with the FM signals. Here where I live, I've got one of the major issues of having FM transmitters very, very strongly overload many receivers that I get. So, you know, sometimes I post a review and people will say, hey, you've been hard on that radio. I don't get that problem. And when I talk with that person, I notice that, oh, okay, you live outside of a big city, so the FM signals are not very strong, so they don't overload your radio. But here, I can tell you one thing. If you want to test a receiver for overloading of FM signals breaking through everywhere, test it here where I live. I can tell you, if it's really, you know, if your radio's crappy, it's going to show here. I can tell you that. What's the most expensive shortwave radio out on the market? Man, there's the Watkin Johnson receivers that are what, like $14,000 bucks. There's the Icom ICR. What is it? The Icom ICR 9500 or something. That's also like $14,000 or something. There are a few receivers that are very, very high-end receivers, and they're built like tanks, first of all, and they're made for really professional use. But they're from like $10,000 to $15,000. So I'd love to own one of them. I can tell you that. I really would. I'll never have. Well, never. Who knows? Someday, but for the foreseeable future, I don't think I'll ever have the money to buy a $15,000 receiver. Take care, Bullfrog 89. Was nice to have you on board. And hey, happy birthday. Have a wonderful night also. Happy birthday, Bullfrog. Really was nice to have you here. And David says, I think by the time you got the ICF Shortwave 11, I already had my ICR5 scanner, but because the performance on shortwave is quite poor, I really had still not listened outside of the air band and the 2-meter band. Yeah, the portable wideband receivers like the Icom, even the Icom SCR20, it's okay, but it's not you're not going to DX with an Icom, ICR20 portable wideband receiver on shortwave. I can tell you that. So that would be nice, Carol. Okay, let's go here. Okay, another one in the cheap portables that I've bought, and it's the Tecsun GR-920. So this is basically a analog receiver with a frequency counter. So in the display, the frequency is really just a frequency counter. So it's not super precise. And because it's an analog radio, it does drift a little bit. Yet, this is barely more than $20. I remember paying something like $20 or $25. And I mean shipping included in everything. And it actually is a surprising little radio. It's one of those radios that it's like, I would say it's the, I would give it like the, I would say it's the cousin of the R9012. And what I mean by that is it is $2 or $3 more, and they added like a frequency display here. So it's a little easier to know where you are on the frequency range. And it has close to this the sensitivity of the Tecsun R9012, I would say. I don't know if the batteries are good. If they are, can we? Okay, radio. Let's turn it on. Let's turn it on. On or off is here. Okay, let's see here. For example, a little earlier, we were on Spain. So look how good it received Radio Exterior de España, just with the telescopic.
Miles de personas continúan atrapadas en los campos de refugiados de Grecia, donde se encuentra en estos momentos sin saber qué va a ser de su futuro. ¿Cómo está trabajando Médicos Sin Fronteras sobre el terreno?
Pues Médicos está ya nosotros de
Listening to your sermons helps strengthen and helps us.
So, you know what? For the price of like your Marti.
Desde ese 13 hasta hoy día hemos tenido solamente 8 intercepciones en alta mar.
So for the price of like $25, it's pretty sensitive. It's quite surprising in sensitivity. And like I say, it's kind of a cousin of the R9012, and it's cheap, but it has a display. And because of that, it has a little, edge over it, because you at least can tune a little more precisely. And I gotta say, that thing is really, really amazing. Tecsun GR-920. Cheap radio, but kind of interesting. I don't know if they still make it, but that was one of the first Tecsun cheap receivers also that I bought, and I was kind of surprised by that. I can tell you that. Oh, major difference with the silver Grundig. And it's actually cheaper in price than that silver Grundig. So it gives you an idea. It's a major difference. And it has a frequency display. So I got to say that. So, well, Spain has an amazing signal. You know what? It's one of the best signals on shortwave right now. Spain with Romania, they have amazing signals on shortwave. Yeah, there's the AOR-AR1, like Sheldon says, 8,550 Canadian. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, the AR1, pretty expensive. Pretty expensive. I gotta say that. Pretty expensive. Hey, Steve Wynn, MX5 in the house. Nice to have you on board. Jeff Miller, that radio on the near top shelf far left, is that a realistic patrolman? If so, that was the radio that got me into shortwave. I was into CB and scanners already. Okay, let's bring out the big guns for these, okay, as you're mentioning them. So here we have a patrolman, and here we have another patrolman, okay? And you guys are gonna wonder, why the hell do I have two patrolmans? I'm gonna explain why. Okay, here's the thing. The original patrolman that I had was this. This is the Patrolman CB60. This my dad bought when I was about 13 years old, 14 years old maybe. And this was what, not only, this put me into what scanner receivers would be. This was so cool because I was showing all my friends, hey, you can listen to the air bands and listen to the airplanes. And I remember listening to some amateur radio operators and listening to all sorts of signals. And it had the UHF band also on the bottom at 450. So this is the realistic Patrolman CB60. But it has a cousin. And the cousin is the Patrolman's SW60. And the SW60 is the same exact radio, except that they took the CB band and put shortwave in it instead. And thinking about it today, I would have preferred my dad had this one back then. But he had the CB one, and so, you know, because in the display, it has, here, this one has 40 channel CB in the display. So if you guys can see the display a little more precise here, this is the display for this one with 40 channel CB. And this is the display for this one, which is shortwave, so it means it has a shortwave bands instead. Now, how come I got two of them? Well, this I got when I was a kid, and I used it a lot, and I mean a lot. And I was going on eBay and looking at radios, and this one showed up for 40 bucks. And I think it was $10 shipping, which means $50. And I said, okay, the guy says it works perfectly. And I got to say, when I got it, it was not only it does work perfectly, it was in perfect shape. So I said, what the hell? I want to have the shortwave version of the radio. So this is the shortwave version, and the other one's the CB version. But if you remove just shortwave and CB, all the rest of the frequency range are exactly the same. So they are two Patrolman receivers with the antenna connector right here for external antennas. Has power cord and everything. Headphone jack on the side. And so this goes from AM, FM. This one is shortwave from 6 to 18 megahertz. The other one is channel 1 to 40, a CB band. VHF 108 to 174, 30 to 50, and 450 to 512 megahertz in the frequency range. So I've got the two little cousins, the CB and SW60 for it. So pretty amazing when you think. So hey TOT, nice to have you on board. No worries about being late. It's quite all right. PLF is for the Sangean ATS 909. By the way, 909X, which is a updated version, and I'm going to show you guys an updated version basically of this receiver, which is a this one is the Radio Shack DX398, but it's exactly in reality it's exactly, just put it on here so you guys see a little more. It's exactly the Sangean ATS 909. They are the same radios. Now they updated that to the 909X, which is the same radio. And you know what? I don't believe they did much work on it, except the outer casing, which is way different. Because the receiver, the 909X, is a little deaf. And this one is a little deaf. It's great on a long wire. It works fine. But just with the telescopic, it's a little deaf, and this is an expensive radio. This was like $300 back then. I got it on sale, but I got to say that the 909X in the portable receivers is one of the expensive portables, for sure. I don't know if it's the most expensive, but it's one of the expensive shortwave portables. And you know, it's sad because it's a little deaf. It still is a little deaf on shortwave. I got to say. So, you know, that's the little thing here about that. But, man, so pretty cool, you know? Pretty cool. So, what else do we have here? Sorry, guys, I'm just going back a little bit here in the... Sheldon's saying that AR Alpha B wideband receivers $99.50 US, $9,950 US. Wow. David says okay, shortwave 11, yeah. Cool, Jerry. Nice to follow. You know, I do that sometimes. I follow Leo Laporte's tech shows, and in the summertime, I often go to the park or take a walk and bring my phone and watch his shows on the phone. So it's always fun. David says, the Patrolman, the only analog tune radio that covers so many bands that it has to be delivered in 2 issues. Yeah, it's like there's actually 3 different ones. I think there's a DX60 here. Kevin O'Reilly says, had a realistic DX60 at shortwave and CB bands, looked just the same as those Patrolmans. Yes, the DX60, I believe it's a little darker in its color though, but they look exactly the same, and the DX60 at shortwave and CB. So that's kind of funny. Kind of funny. Yeah, well, one thing, Jerry, by the way, you say hopefully that the R86 will be in the $2,500 range. If too much, you'll get the R30. I would wait, because the R30, if the R30 performs, for example, on shortwave like the R20, you're not going to be very satisfied, especially for the performance on shortwave, for the price. Yeah, I need a case for my R20. That display that comes out slightly is kind of sad because I've scratched it. So you got a few scratches when I bring the radio with me. Far too many gadgets. Started with a Patrolman 9, real monster, but sadly I gave it away about 20 years ago. There are things like that, you know what? It's so sad when you think about it. Sorry. I had so many radios that I sold for like almost nothing. You know, some Panasonic portables. I had a Panasonic RFB 2200. I had a what was it? Another Panasonic RFB 300. And you know what? I should have kept those. They would be fantastic in my collection. I regret selling my realistic DX302, which, you know, it's not a super performer, but, you know, I started out with the DX100, then I got to the DX302 with digital display, and I should have kept it. It was one of my main radios for a while. Then I got to the then I pushed up to the Kenwood R5000, which is really another category of receivers. I know, you know. How big is the memory for recording on the R20? It has 3 recording modes. One is 6 hours, 4 hours, or 2 hours. So you can record up to 6 hours if you want. Brett Wayne says, I have a Sony TFM 1000WA. That must be interesting to look at. I have to look at that. What is that? It is nice to see all these old receivers. It's really so cool. So TFM 1000WA. TFM 1000WA. That is, let's check it out here. A Sony TFM. Sony. And so you're watching the Shortwave show. And we are here every 2 weeks on Saturdays. And I have a little something that I will say according to the shows that I'm doing, by the way. Oh, yeah. Oh, that looks nice. There's one on eBay for $37, but the shipping is $45. Crazy. Oh, that looks, that's kind of nice. Says 1970. Oh, that's at 8100. 70s radio. Cool multi-band receivers from the time. Just before we continue, just before, Sheldon has a great question. How many people got started with a realistic DX160? That's what I did see a lot, but I started with a DX100. You know, I gotta say, probably for a lot of us, thank God Radio Shack, because they were probably, for a lot of us, part of why we got into the hobby of shortwave radio. I mean, I had multi-band radios and everything, but it's really the Radio Shack DX100 that brought me into shortwave. And I got to say that this is, you know, this is cool, and I miss the fact that we don't have such, you know, sorry guys, I'm just gonna put the light on. Okay. So you know that we don't have any of these stores anymore. I mean, these are great, and these were fantastic to a kid that wants to discover electronics and discover your radio and everything. I mean, wow, Radio Shacks. And I gotta say, how many? Grandly in the chat says DX160 was his first receiver. So a lot of people. Bonjour, Florian SSL, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Muffled Oars on Twitter says that he managed to get, let me just check it out, a Panasonic DR22 a couple of years ago. Throwback to when my father tuned and listened to shortwave growing up. Wow. That's pretty cool. Well, bonjour. Florian SSL, nice to have you here. Kevin O'Reilly started with his DX200, first proper communications receiver. Jeff, KD5, QDO. I have a Grundig satellite recorder, 4000 boombox, AM, FM shortwave, and a cassette recorder. The thing is huge. Yeah, these were huge back then. Tony Ivy, hello there. Has the 398, great portable. With a wire antenna, it's really an amazing portable, I gotta say. And the fine tuning, 40 Hz every time you tune on single sideband is amazing. Jeff Miller says, same here, I'd still have the AR8200 and the Drake R8. Drake receiver, really amazing. Yeah, Jerry, I saw the link. Chalikov says, if anyone has used a VEF or a VEP, that's what I had first. I remember these. I remember seeing some pictures of these. It's cool, you know, going back in time when the bands were filled with signals. That was amazing. Okay, let's go through some more receivers here. We'll try to go a little faster to get all of the receivers. Here we have the Tecsun PL310, which is a nice little receiver. It's one of the first receivers that I believe, if I look at it, yeah, it had the silicon integrated DSP chip. This is the first radio that I actually had that has the silicon integrated DSP chip. So the SI4734 is a shortwave radio on a chip with DSP capabilities. And this I bought because I thought it would be interesting to see how it sounded like and how it is. So this is one of the first that really started all. Today you can have an updated version of this called the PL310 ET because they added the easy tuning mode, which this one does not have. They didn't have the idea of putting the easy tuning mode first. So it's kind of the first in a series that came out after with the DSP chip in it. So I had a lot of fun with that. Some of them I should redo some videos. I think it's, you know, some of the older receivers and stuff that I haven't done videos in a long time. This, the Mini World 100 PE. Analog shortwave radio, multiband. I got this at a Canadian Tires for $20 on sale. And of course, as I am that type of guy, I saw a shortwave radio for 20 bucks and I said, hey, I want this. What I have to say, it's surprisingly sensitive for what it is, a small analog portable. And for a long time, actually what I would do is I would walk and put it like this in my shirt pocket, and I'd look like a dork because I'd put the antenna like this, and I had earbuds, and I would listen to shortwave signals. And I remember, for example, going for a walk and listening. I remember listening to China radio, Radio Romania, and I've had this for a long time, so I remember listening to like Radio Prague and stations like that on this little portable receiver back then with relative ease. I mean, it's analog, so it's the tuning that's a little harsh, but it's very sensitive. It's surprising. The Mini World 100 PE, pretty sensitive for what it is. I gotta say that. Gotta say that. So, and as we continue here, man, sorry. Tony Ivy says when he was stationed in Europe, used a Sony 2010. Yeah, the Sony 2010, or in Europe it was called the 2001D, I believe. That's one of the best Sony portables ever. It's really an amazing receiver. Can tell you that. Ralph Filey Sr. says 73 is from KJ4 PFC. My first rig was an old 1940s rig. Wow. Those tube, I like those old tube shortwave radios. That's pretty cool. Michael Brown, first receiver was an AOR 2002 back in the 80s. Still have it, and it still works as good as new. David says, in fact, the very first time he tuned into shortwave was that first CFS W350L. I got into what I think was an English broadcast, not understanding anything at the time. I never selected shortwave band again until he got the shortwave 11. You know, Michael Brown had a Sony 2001D and loved it. You know, I remember the first look into shortwave I've had in my life was I don't remember the brand. I just don't remember it. I was way too young. I was like maybe 11 or 12 years old back then. So we're in 1979 or 1980. My dad bought one of those cheap multi-band radios. We had a chain of stores here that were very weird called Consumer Distributing. And basically, you would go into the store and you had only catalogs. And there was a counter. So you'd go into the catalog, select what you want, put the code on a little piece of paper with your name on it, and give it to someone. And they'd go back and get the things that you wanted, and you paid for it, and you would go out. And that chain of stores had one big problem. Almost everything that you put the code in the catalog, they didn't have. So I would say that probably 3 out of 4 times you'd go to that store, you were not having what you wanted. And it was like, you were sad, because it's like, oh, I wanted that. I remember I had like, it was Christmas, and I had like $30 that was given to me as a gift. And I remember I wanted to buy an alarm clock. And I remember going there. And I was so sad because I just put the code and it's like, I'm sorry, we don't have it. But that was the problem with that store. Anyways, my dad went there, and I was about 12, and we looked at multi-band radios. They had like 2 or 3 different. And I just don't remember the brand, unfortunately. That one had, I remember the Airband. It had VHF, and it had shortwave, because there was a SW1, SW2. And basically, they You know, so we went there, we got a radio. My dad was always like that. He bought the radio. I don't know how much it cost back then, I don't remember. And he didn't use it after a week, so I started tuning around, and I remember one time going into SW1 or SW2, hearing Morse code and thinking, what the hell is that? And then there was all sorts of weird stuff everywhere. And one night, I was tuning around, and I heard what I know now is the BBC World Service, but I didn't know back then what shortwave was. So I remember saying, this is London. And I remember I was sitting in the kitchen. I was like, London and Ontario, Canada? Or London, what's London? London, Ontario, Canada. In my head, it was impossible there was London in the UK. It had to be London in Ontario, Canada. And basically, that's how I got into shortwave without knowing what it was and tuning out and not really going there until I got my realistic DX100. So it was really, really weird. Really, really weird. Tony Ivy, for a long wire antenna, the longer the better. That's always what I say most of the time for anybody that listens to shortwave. So anyone that has space for a wire antenna or a long wire, I always say put it as long as you can, and usually it's good. So you know, you got it 35 feet. Mine is a sloper in my backyard. It is it's 22 meters, so it's I don't know, 75 feet maybe. So about 75 feet. But as long as you can, as long as you can put it up, just put it up. So Far Too Many Gadgets says, we had a catalog store with showrooms like that called Best. Here there was not even a showroom. Here it's like, imagine you're going into the front of, you know, you're getting in, and all there were catalogs. And there was a counter, like going at McDonald's. You know, you're just choosing the catalog, and you could have counter with your little piece of paper. And you'd see boxes. And I remember, you'd see boxes coming out. And you'd always wonder, oh, is that my item? Is that my thing? Of course not. Every time it was like, oh, we're sorry, we don't have it. It was like, oh, man. So, you know. Jeff Miller says, sounds like a store we had down here called Brand Smart. Not sure about small stuff, but if you get a PC or a TV, you had to drive to their loading bay and they'd give you the item there. Okay. Interesting. Oh, man. David says, I think I was around 8 to 10 years old back when the boombox was at home. Back then, my knowledge of both English and radio was almost zero. So I really didn't understand what was going on in frequencies. Yeah. My English was good at 12 because I learned my English from playing with my Italian friends when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old. So my English was really good already at the age of 10 or 11 years old. For me, speaking English is almost as natural as speaking French. Today I don't distinguish. And the funny thing about that, so I'm opening the Ford beer, a Blanche de Chambly. So the funny thing about that is that sometimes I go to when I do tech jobs, I see things in I put a software in English, and I don't think about it. And then a client, you know, here we speak French in the province of Quebec, so the client tells me, "Hey, do you have that? Do you have it in French?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's in English," and I just don't realize because for me, it's like French and English are interchangeable. Like, it's almost as my brain doesn't see a difference. Am I speaking French or English? Because it's now too much. It's a natural thing for me. Hey, Joe Stokesbury, Nice to have you on board. And a little push here, if anyone wants to. Just that little moment that I hate. But if you guys like what I do and want to give me a little something, my PayPal, I'll put it in the chat. You know what? I am in the process of wondering exactly what I can do with what I'm doing right now. I'm pushing for new shows, all sorts of things. And what's happening is, you know, monetization with YouTube is not that great. Even though I do get a lot of views every month, I'm getting less and less money. So, you know, at some point, I don't know, I have to choose what I've got to do, and I'm trying to do the best I can to continue what I'm doing. And one of the things that helps me a lot is donations, and a lot of you have been very generous and very, very cool. And I want to thank everybody that already donated. And think about it, because it does help me continue making these shows. Like I always say, I am somebody that is, taking a lot of time to do these things. A lot of the shows I do need a lot of time to prepare before I'm here. So if anybody wants to give me a little something, would be very much appreciated. Helps me a lot. Thanks for everyone who donated. And if you can't, don't worry about it. It's quite all right. Okay. Volodia S says, rare for me to listen live, but today I'm able to off and on. But I want to listen to Radio Amigo Special Broadcast North America 9330, coming at a fair level into Victoria. Yep, they've Radio Amigo been from WRMI and everything, pretty coming in pretty well. Jerry, no, monitoring times is not available anymore. It's basically, if you want to have the equivalent, it's the Spectrum monitor. Tori Ivy says, right now I use my FRG 7700 I bought off of eBay. Love this old receiver. It is a nice looking receiver, I gotta say. I have to say. Okay. I try to keep it alive as much as I can, friends. Okay, this one has a little story. This one is not a shortwave radio. This is a very cheap AM/FM receiver. Here we go. Looks like a boombox, but it's like a crappy little AM/FM radio. Very, very basic AM/FM receiver. And the funny story about this is a little lady that is actually giving this away if I actually fill up a form to get a credit card. But of course, I already have too many credit cards. So when I get there, it's like, oh, I want to have the free radio, but I don't want to have a new credit card. So I gave her fake information all the way. And after I completed the form and signed, I got a free radio. And that's how I got this little AM/FM receiver. It does what it does. You know, it receives, okay, the AM/FM band and nothing more. But it's okay. And I just, you know, in my craze of getting a free radio, I filled up a little form with false information so I could get it. And maybe 2 or 3 months later, there was another one giving another radio, but I didn't want to take the time to do so. Okay, let's go here further back. This is, yeah, it's kind of cute, you know. Yeah, unfortunately, it does seem to be fake for the, you know, but at least kind of cute, kind of cute. Take care, Icom. Nice to have you on board. Jack Flood, what gauge of wire should I use for long wire antenna? It doesn't matter. Think about the fact, the size of the wire, the gauge of the wire. Okay. What you have to think about it is how what it has to withstand. So if it's very windy sometimes, if you got thunderstorms, ice storms, the bigger the better, because that will mean your wire will not snap under the weight of ice, or if it's very windy. If you take a wire that's too thin, the problem is that it might snap under the weight of ice or everything, or too much wind. So you know, take something that is solid enough that it will withstand the fact that it's outside all the time. But the size, the gauge size, doesn't really matter for reception. It's really the length of the wire that's the. So you know, choose something that is sturdy, that is strong enough that it's going to withstand bad weather outside. Okay, what else do we have here? We have the Degen DE1106. This is, I believe, an equivalent of the Grundig G3. Now, I bought this because it was the first in receivers that I've ever had that had the sync detection, synchronous detector. And I thought it looked cool with the big display. And I thought, yeah, looks like a nice radio. It was a little expensive. It was like $100. So I purchased it. And I received it. And unfortunately, okay, here's a, you know, it does receive. I mean, this is Radio Exterior de España.
En paralelo, en muchos sitios británicos para también subrayar el hecho de que.
So 9690, Radio Exterior de España. So it does receive, but it's not very sensitive compared to all the other radios that I have. So I was a little sad because of the price paid, of how this radio does not really build up to par with other receivers. Another thing that I did enjoy and that made me buy it also is the fact that on FM, when you listen to FM signals, you have, so let's put this down. Okay, so you have RDS, which makes you display the different, you know, what the station has to send out in its RDS stuff. So if I tune a station, so here you got the RDS at the top that will actually move along with the different information that you have on the stations. So, you know, it has the radio data system, which is a subcarrier on FM. Unfortunately, I find it that it's way too expensive for what it was in a shortwave radio. It doesn't perform very well. It's not super sensitive. The sync detection is terrible. It unlocks every 30 seconds. So, you know, when I got the Tecsun PL680 that synced all the time, boy was I happy, because that one was really horrible for syncing. So I can tell you that. I think Jerry is way back in the video talking about the UPS. Yeah, Sean says educate and RDS. What are they teaching people? You know what, Sheldon? When I saw educate, I was like, what is that? Educate? What? Shom FM is showing educate? I had the same thought, Sheldon. I don't know. And I gotta say, Shom FM today is really not the Shom FM I grew up with in the 80s. I miss my old Shom FM from the 80s. And Sheldon knows because he's probably listened to Shom FM in some younger years. You know, today is like, I don't know, many stations have that problem, by the way. Is that what I hate is, okay, you're going to play a Pink Floyd song, you always play the same song. I'm sorry, but Pink Floyd has many other songs that you can play, or some Led Zeppelin stuff. You know, there's other songs than Stairway to Heaven, please. You know, please. No, Shom, Joe Stocksberry, Shom is not a public radio station. It's a rock and roll type station. And I mean, come on. This is... okay, we have DX the Cat that came back for a little moment here. And so, saying hi to everybody. So let's see if I can grab another radio without him going away. Here we go. Okay, this one is an AM/FM emergency radio. And the reason I bought it is because, you know, when you go to, I'd say this, like, here we have a chain of stores called Jean Coutu, which I would say is, you know, like a Shoppers Drug Mart or something like that in the US probably. It's a kind of a store that, you know, you go to get your different prescription pills and everything, but there's like all sorts of other things in that store. So in the Department of Electronics, they had this little AM/FM radio with crank, so the AC generator you see here, and with, of course, a flashlight on the top there. So one day I go there and I see this. It's like $50. And I thought, you know, $50 is too much for what that is. And one day I went to get something and I looked at it and it was like $29.99 on sale. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of cute. I'm going to bring it home. So that's the story behind this one. Cora is, I believe, a very local brand that they have on the stores. I've never seen that much anywhere else. But, you know, and it's a very unusual looking receiver when you look at it. Gotta tell you that. Very, very, very weird looking. I gotta say that. So, you know, like Sheldon says, Shom has a serious identity crisis. It mixes classic rock, new rock, and alternative rock on one station, and does none of them very well. Give me the old Shom of the early 70s. Yep, I'll take the Shom of the 80s. I'll take the Shom of the 80s. Was much more interesting, but, you know, they should stick, Shom should always stick with, and I think they'd have an audience because of the baby boomers. I don't know why they didn't stick to just good old rock and roll from the 60s and 70s and part of the 80s to get the X market. You know, that's what we want. And play a good diversity of, you know, CCR and Led Zeppelin and, you know, Emerson, Lake and Palmer and stuff like that. Play a good brand of all of that. Play more songs of every band. And you know what? That, I think they'd still have a market share that would be interesting because they'd get the baby boomers and part of the X like me that, you know, my brother is 9 years older than me, so even though the Doors and Led Zeppelin and stuff like that was not part of my generation much, with my brother, I came to listen to Janis Joplin and the Doors and Led Zepp and Pink Floyd and all of that I didn't know much because I was much more of an 80s pop rock guy. So I think they'd have much more of an audience. They mix too much, and you know, I don't want to hear the latest alternative rock stuff. You know, leave that to other stations, and just play the good old rock and roll from the time. You know, it's like they're trying to get young generation into Shom FM. And let's face it, I don't see many young generation listening to the radio anyways. And they are annoying the old guys like us that are used to what Shom used to be in the past. Okay, I'm sorry, DX, but I'm going to have to fetch a radio here. And you might not like it. Yeah, I understand you don't like it. Here we go. So let's fetch a few radios more. Okay. Okay. Here is this is, believe it or not, a $9 radio that was in a package at the same drugstore that I just talked about 2 seconds ago with the yellow radio. It has shortwave, and it really cost $9.99. And I thought, for $9.99, I have to get this radio and see what it does, especially because it has shortwave in it. And verdict, it does it like a $9 radio needs to do it. Not really very well, but I gotta say, a little better than a lot of the cheap stuff. But it's still, I don't know. Can I? Well, no, I won't do it now. But I mean, okay, cheap radio, not super performance. Next one is also in one like this, the KK9. I've got two of those, by the way, a black and a silver one. This is also a $10 radio, and it doesn't do anything very well, including AM FM, that it doesn't do very well. So, it's just amazing. So, it's one of those things that you just buy because they're cheap and see what, especially when you're crazy about radio, you just buy them because they're cheap. So, really amazing, William Helm says the subtone is like mine from a thrifty rent-a-car agency in San Antonio, Texas. I found it at a thrift store. Oh, man. Bobby Burgess, you talked about copyrighted music and shortwave being captured and recorded on YouTube. Have you ever heard of BitChute? Yeah, that tells me something, but I'm not really sure. But, you got to be careful when you do YouTube stuff, because when you turn around the shortwave bands, I have to go really fast across everything that's music, unless I want to take the time to start cutting different parts of my video. Because, man, they're out there. You just put a song, and YouTube will stop monetization almost immediately. It's amazing on what they do. So it's pretty cool. Hey, Jeffrey Kropp, thank you very much for upping your pledge on Patreon. I am on Patreon also. It's much appreciated. I gotta say, you're very, very kind. It's very, very nice. Thank you so much. And yes, I am on patreon.com/radio and computers. So, Tony Ivy, he says doesn't understand why our classic stations don't play groups like John Luke Ponty loved him. They've lost their identity. Really lost their identity. I can tell you that. It's, I don't know. It's one of those crazy times. It's, like the, they're trying to please a too wide an audience. And when you do that, you lose too much people. You lose a lot of people when you try to please everybody. It's like if I would do a shortwave show with something for, let's now talk about an MP3 player, or, not even that. It's like, let's talk about the latest smartphone and the online stations you can get on TuneIn to please a younger audience that's not shortwavy. Well, I'd lose you guys, because you would say, well, that has nothing to do with shortwave. And exactly, Exactly. It's, Okay, let's continue on with, okay, this is I just showed you the KK9, and, well, the KK9 is also available in the QFX Model R9, and it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. I bought two radios exactly the same from different brands, but they're the same. QFX, and just look at it. Here we are. I'm gonna bring out the other one, the Cade. Look at the two radios. Same exact radio. So I've got 2 times the cheapness and the horrible receivers for the same price. Well, actually for double the price. $9.95 each. QFX and Cade, but they're the same radio. And they're even crappy at AM FM, so you know what? That doesn't give a lot to them. Okay, let's get into something that's a little older. And we're almost done on the shelf radios. That's pretty cool. This, I got a call from my brother, and he's telling me that he's in a he's out of town. He's at a flea market, and somebody has this thing, and he looks at it and he says, "Oh, that my brother would like." So he tells me in his own words, "Oh, I've got this," and basically, it's like he's telling me it says Bush and it has numbers, and somebody that doesn't know radio and is trying to explain to you what it says on the radio. And the only thing I say is, okay, how much is it? And the guy says it's $5. I said, look, when the radio is below $10, don't ask me for permission. Just buy it and bring it home. So it brings me this. And this is obviously a European radio because it has the long wave band and the medium wave AM band. It doesn't even have FM. So you could see the stations with the markings of the different stations. So if you guys can see maybe here, when we look at it a little closer, maybe not. But this is a Bush. This is a European radio. Somebody from Europe brought this over here. And it still works. It still has medium wave and long wave capabilities. Of course, here long wave gets beacons because that's all we have. But it has medium wave also. And it works. So, an unusual radio. So, interesting to, maybe needs a little cleaner on the switch here, but it works and it's nice and it's super heavy. It's amazingly heavy and works on D batteries. So kind of nice. And this is one of those. So some music, as you see here. I'm not going to leave very long. And basically, so that is a Bush, and that's a really European radio, I can tell you that. So Red Wayne says Led Zeppelin, U2, and Ozzy. Yeah, good old stuff. Good old stuff. And Jeff Miller says classic rock means to me Beatles until the start of punk and disco. Shelvin says, I just can't listen to local radio here in Montreal, so I got a Sirius XM over 10 years ago and can listen to all sorts of specialized music formats, worth every penny in my opinion. You know what? When I want to listen to, if I want to listen to some music, I listen to streams. I've got a Sangean WFR20 internet radio, and I listen to music streams. So, I just go and choose an 80s music stream or a 70s music stream, depending on what to listen to. There's a lot of choice over the internet, and some of the streams are very high quality. And the Sangean WFR20 is amazing. But I do hear that Sirius XM has lots of interesting stuff. I've never dabbled that. It would have been interesting. I would be interested in checking that out. For sure. So, you don't want to record 5085 on YouTube, they will sue you. What they do is, actually, YouTube has a, pretty much a something that with the music labels, and what happens is if I post a video that has music, okay, it's not gonna, most of the time it's not gonna be taken off. But you're gonna tell me, in some countries you might not see my video, or they're gonna tell me, hey, you got some copyright content here. We're not gonna, the monetization is going to these guys instead of going to you for the video. And oh, I just looked at my 400 watt spot in front of me, and I just can't even read the I just can't even read the chat room anymore. I just see lights. Oh man, I always avoid looking at a spot because I know I will see lights, but I got a really strong spot there for the shows and everything, so it's pretty amazing. Let me just check out a little something here for a second. So you are watching the Shortwave live show. Hey, we've been on for 3 hours already. Pretty amazing. So we'll do a little quickie here. We'll go to the rest of the radios there quick, and we'll turn to the other radios there, and we'll go really quick for the rest of them. I think it's going to be better like that. So that's for sure. And what else we have? Hey Sheldon, no problem. Take care, and I would be happy to be a guest on International Radio Report to talk about the live shows. So send me an email, or I can send you my phone, my cell phone number, and I will be happy to participate as a guest. So don't hesitate anytime. I'll be happy. Take care, Sheldon. Always nice to have you on board, and always been a pleasure every time we met in person. So thanks for being here. Take care. Hey, D. Newman. D. Newman says has the Sangean WFR-28 Wi-Fi radio. Like it a lot. Yeah, I love mine also. And the sound quality. I don't know about the WFR-28, but WFR-20. Amazing sound quality, especially for music. So yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to go for 6 hours. I'm going to run out of batteries. So take care, Sheldon. Okay, we're going to continue on a little bit with the radios, and we'll go quickly so that we can go through all the radios, so I don't have to do this again next week or in 2 weeks. So, okay, we have, let's check it out. The last few radios over there. We have, okay, Sangean ATS 800A. This I bought when I was working in the shop, and there was a little electronics store, and they had the Sangean ATS 800A. It's a little shortwave receiver, no numeric keypad, so it was kind of a little difficult to tune in. But for a while, it was one of my receivers, and it actually has rechargeable batteries in it that are completely dead. So it's best time to recharge the batteries now. So for AA batteries, and so this was for a while one of my little portable receivers. It's quite sensitive. It has one major flaw, is that the FM stations break through to shortwave, and it made sometimes reception a little difficult. And I bet that this goes here. I was wondering which one had this missing. Here we go. I found the missing battery port. So Sangean ATS 800A. Not one of the best radios I've ever used, but it was one of the portables that I used for a little while. Okay, here we go. This one is a retro, and we'll take the this with it because it goes with it. This one I bought because it's a little expensive. This one is like $60 on eBay, which is kind of expensive for a portable analog. But I look the looks. You know, I really like the looks. It looks like a retro radio from the 70s or 80s, and I really liked it. It's the Panasonic RF562. It's a AM, FM, and shortwave band. It's quite sensitive, has interesting, pretty good sound, drifts a little bit, but is a nice, really overall nice radio, I gotta say. Analog all the way. And apparently this and Keith Perron of what's the name of the show? Anyways, Keith Perron says that this model is extremely popular in Asia, apparently. And it comes with this. So this is kind of a casing, so I got to remember how to put it in. So here we go. You put this here, and there's snaps everywhere. And let's check it out. Snaps everywhere. And here we go. Snap. Snap. It's very tight, so you gotta really push it on in. So snap. Here we go. Snap. Snap. And there we go. We have a vinyl case all around it. So, but it's expensive. It's for an analog, this is the most expensive analog in recent years that I've bought. But it's a nice little thing. You know, it's really a nice little thing. Can tell you that. So nice look, nice retro type radio, and very sensitive. It does receive shortwave quite well. This one, another emergency receiver. This is a Tecsun GR-168. Tecsun GR-168. This is an emergency radio, has a hand crank in the back so that you can crank the radio with flashlight on one side, siren, everything. So it's an emergency radio with AM, FM, shortwave. It's totally analog. It is also very sensitive. I mean, this really is very sensitive. It's surprising. It's like the R9012 packed into a emergency receiver. And nice little receiver. Bought it for the looks, because I kind of like the looks, and also the fact that I'm surprised at how well it receives shortwave. And you know, you just crank it, and it has the possibility to charge your smartphone. Okay, 3 radios left here. The Cade KK712. This very cheap analog portable. A little bit like the Cade KK9, pretty much a piece of junk, and that was something like $10. This one, the Nextech shortwave receiver, which is a brand. Nextech was a brand sold at Radio Shack for a while, and this has analog display. It's actually an analog radio with digital frequency counter. Not very good also as a shortwave radio. Was kind of cheap, like $20 I remember back then. And finally, the Chibo. This is the first ever radio I bought on eBay. And I think it's the first ever thing I bought on eBay, because I wanted to test eBay and see if it really worked back way back in the year 2000. And I said, I got to test eBay with something cheap, because, you know, when you're not sure what eBay is, you're not sure if you want to buy something expensive. So I bought this that was like $20. And it's an analog portable shortwave. It's surprisingly sensitive. I gotta say, I was surprised at how sensitive it was for such a cheap radio. And Kachibo, it's one of those little cheap portables, and you know, kind of a nice little portable radio. So we got the portables and the radios from there. And we're gonna end with what's on my shelf. So please don't look at what it looks like, because it looks like messed up. But I'm going to show you guys. Here what we have on the main attractions of the day. Okay, let's take this here, and put the camera on that side. Okay, here guys, we've got some radios. Okay, let me just put the computer so I can see what I'm doing when I'm going over there. Okay, radios. here and here and here are American 5s, all American 5s. All American 5s are receivers that basically have 5 tubes, pretty much always the same 5 tubes, but they're old AM receivers, tube receivers from the 70s or 60s. Then, so I have some of those, and I have others that I need to take out sometime so you guys can see. Okay, let's try to make things a little better here by moving the camera. Sorry guys if it's a little giving you nausea, but here we go. What do we have here? We have here main receivers. My first ever shortwave radio. What started everything. What made me, for the first time in my life, listen. And probably what makes me do these live shows today. Sorry if I'm playing with the camera. The DX100 right here. This is a realistic DX100. That's what started all of my shortwave hobby, and really is an amazing little receiver, but it's not sensitive. Compared today, when I compare that to what I have today, it's not sensitive. But you know what? This is what started all my shortwave hobby, and I just love it because it did a good job enough that it really made me, start shortwave. Below it is a TRC 432 CB base station, 40 channels, that I had when I was about 14, 15 years old. On the top, the famous Realistic Pro 2006 scanner, very popular scanner back then, still popular today, one of the best tabletop scanners Realistic ever did. And of course, on the left side is my trusty old Icom ICR 20 receiver. And on the far there, you can't see it much, there's a 40 channel CB that Realistic TRC, what is it? It's a Realistic TRC 216. This is a pair that Fastload that was in chat room earlier caught for cheap, and we bought it together. So I got one and he got one. Made it very inexpensive for us to get the radios. So hey guys, that is the tour of pretty much every radio that I have, except maybe a few that are left in the storage area over there. So I'll try to get around that eventually at some point. But that's pretty much what I have to share with you guys. Hope you enjoyed this tour, and that you enjoyed the tour also last time. So we've done 2 shows with all the radios and everything. So it's pretty cool, and hope that you guys enjoyed it. So really nice. So yeah, all American 5s. Yeah, the Pro 2006, it was up there. Pretty cool. And William Helm says got a 57 Zenith Royal 760 Navigator, still runs strong. Pretty cool. So this is the shortwave collection, guys. This is what I have, showing you all the receivers. I might have missed 1 or 2 that are misplaced, but pretty much you've seen almost everything that I own radio-wise. And hope you guys enjoyed that. And this is, Louise, the wife, is always never there every time I do the shows because she's the shy type. So that's the radio collection, guys. And hope you enjoyed. So we had two shows with the radios. Hey, I am going to say goodbye for tonight because we've been running for 3 hours 15. I'm a little tired and I want to eat something. So I was supposed to make hamburgers. So we're going to make some good, big, juicy hamburgers. Hope you guys enjoyed the radios. Hope you guys enjoyed the time. It was nice to see that a lot of you have subscribed to CIDX, the Canadian International DX Club bulletin that you'll get every month. And always cool to have everybody here. Thanks, guys. It's nice to have you on board. Really, really cool. As always, thank you so much. We'll be back for the next shows in 2 weeks. So the next shows, just to give you guys a little hint, wow, already the next shows will be Friday, March 3rd and Saturday, March the 4th. And we will talk about, on March 3rd, we will tune around the shortwave bands. And on March the 4th, we will talk about shortwave. And you know what? I'm thinking of doing another pirate radio special. Talk about pirate radio activity. And who knows? Maybe some pirates somewhere will decide to stream me again live. And of course, if they do, there'll be a possibility of some QSLs for the Pirates broadcast like last time. Thanks, everybody. It was nice to have all of you on board. Thank you so much for being here. Without you guys and girls, you know, there would be no show. Really, really love it. And David says, that's quite cool collection. Only have around 7 radios, including my ICR 8500. I think in about 20 years, I'll have as much radios as you. Cool show as well. Thanks, everybody. Always nice to have everybody here. Well, MDK2, it would be March 4th, Saturday, March 4th at, Saturday, March the 4th at 2000, starts at 2000 hours UT. So if you want to give a hint, and it'd be cool. And we'll talk about pirates. You know, I like talking about pirate radios. It's kind of cool. So thank you, PLF, SG2, East Nebraska. Always nice to have everybody here. And Grandly, let's eat. Let's have hamburgers. If there would be a teleportation, I have enough ground beef for at least 50 hamburgers. Take care, everybody. And thanks for being here as always.